We are now.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Good evening, everyone. May the 4th be with you all. Without further ado, I'm just gonna dig in this. So as I have been doing since the beginning of the year, I have been kind of keeping you up to date. So even if you missed any of the previous months, I kind of keep it in the presentation so you can just refresh your memory. Mostly this is something my team does it on daily basis. So it can fluctuate. So I don't look on the rate a lot because it's like a daily and as you probably know, that kind of changes throughout the day. Think of it as the stock market, like you can see it like fluctuating throughout the day. So this is not really something that I'm hung up on, but it's important for me that I want to see how is the stock market doing in general and the total homes available, contingent, back on the market or price change, because that tells me where we stand. Going quickly through that, so far the market has been going through or has been going in the right direction, no crash or anything that was not it is a bad sign per se. And I try to kind of also look on the same day of last year. So this year we have more homes available than the same time last year. The contingent and under agreement is way higher than the houses that are back on the market or the ones that has price changes. This price change does include even the prices that are going up. So it's not only the ones that are going down, but any price change, even the ones that are going up. In the most part, the majority would be going down, but keep in mind that there is a margin of it that will be going up. Those only in the Middlesex, Essex, and Suffolk counties. That's where I mostly focus. But it's just to give us an idea about the market in general. And for the interest rate, it has been really fluctuating. This I kind of like monitor weekly, and it has been fluctuating. So the week in February, it was like it went all the way up to 7, and then it weekly kept going down until almost 6, as you can see here in February, and then it kept going up again, all the way up to 65, and then it went down. So it went up, but this week it went down 0.04% from last week. I also keep a close eye on what Sam Cotter say every month. So this month he's saying this week mortgage rates inched down slightly amid recent volatility in the banking sector and commentary from the Federal Reserve on its policy outlook. Spring is typically the busiest season for the residential housing market, and despite rates hovering in the mid 6% range, this year is no different. Interested buyers are acclimating to the current rate environment, but the lack of inventory, bless you, the lack of, I just want to highlight this part, the lack of it, because this is kind of, and I'll go back also to last month. The lack of inventory remains a primary obstacle to affordability. So far, even though we're still in the mid 6s, but the main problem is not the interest rate. The main problem is inventory. Yes, this time of the year by nature is the busiest, but it doesn't matter. Like if I have one house and 10 buyers versus 10 houses and 100 buyers, it's the same percentage. So it might look like I have more houses, but it's the lack of inventory that's kind of like keeping the market so far. Also, last month, he said low inventory. So last month, he was saying economic uncertainty continues to bring mortgage rates down. Over the last several weeks, declining rates have brought borrowers back to the market, But as the spring home buying season gets underway, low inventory remains a key challenge for prospective buyers. So low inventory has been a problem, continues to be a problem, and we do see it during open houses. Even though there are houses and there are very little amount of them that go back on the market or have price change, we're still seeing that the houses that are priced well, getting the right marketing for it sells like really right away, because people, they know, as we approach spring and summer market, when it gets like really, really busy, there will be more aggressive buyers and everyone is just trying to grab the house before anyone else. So we're seeing interest on in that. So that will actually cannot be any better with the topic today, because we need properties. Like, we absolutely need properties. I still have buyers and I can't find homes for them. So we absolutely need anything and everything. Just like Duncan was saying, I am an investor-friendly realtor. I do work with retail buyers as well as investor buyers in the residential and commercial market in Mass and Southern New Hampshire. And I also help with all of our new members to become one of the benefits, exclusive benefits that you get as a member, is to get extra discounts and rebates with Home Depot that you wouldn't get otherwise. So for our members only, we get 2% rebate biannually on all purchases. The only catch here is that you need to spend $5,000 per period. So Home Depot has fixed rebate periods, starts January, very, very low. It's very achievable. And how it works is that you get the rebate as a gift card, as a Home Depot gift card, if it's under $1,000. $1,000 or more, you get a check in the mail, and normally rebates go out within 60 days from the closing day of each period. So make sure that your mailing address is always updated with Home Depot. Also, our members start at the gold tier. So Home Depot has, 3 or 4 tiers. So you skip the first 2 tiers and then you start straight at the 3rd tier, which is the gold one, and that qualifies you immediately for 20% off paint. And that has nothing to do with the rebate. Let's say you join today and you're working on a project and you only need paint for it. You don't need to spend the $5,000 you join today, and then you get the 20% immediately. To get the discount for the paint, it's very easy. You just at the checkout, just like think of it as as a CVS rewards or Shaw's or anything. So when you go at the checkout, you enter your phone number, and then it will recognize that you are a Boston RIA member. And then you swipe your card, and then you get the 20% at the checkout at the final bill. Now, Home Depot has a way, so how it works is that they have you register a card. That's the only way for you to get the 2% rebate. So, and they are very, really flexible. You can register a checking account, a gift card, or a credit card. Or they have several payment methods that you can use, and that the only way to track and collect your 2% rebate. So now if you pay with that card, you get on top of the 20%, you get the 2%. The 2% is not going to be at the checkout, it's going to be at the end of the 6 months, but you whatever you spend, the 2% is on anything and everything. Whatever you spend there calculates towards the $5,000. And the registered card thing, it's great because you can track all of your purchases for up to 24 months. It's not like per year, it's per month. So if you start in May, you can go all the way back, for the May that 2 years before. And the 20% of the paint is applicable to paint, stains, and primer of a gallon or more. It doesn't apply to any quartz or spray or any of that. Also, our members can get up to 20% of select Hampton Bay kitchen and bath cabinets if purchased 10 or more cabinets in a single transaction. How it works is that you get 10% from national area. National area, just like Duncan was saying, this is the, the bigger umbrella that we are under. National that oversees all of the areas all over the 50 states. So you get 10% from them and then 10% from Home Depot. And both are stackable with any other store discount. So you can get at least 20% with the Hampton Bay kitchen and bath cabinets. Also, volume pricing program or bid room. So how this works is that you need to have a list of large items that is going to cost $1,500 or more in a single transaction. Bring your list to the pro desk, have them prepare a quote for you, and then after that, just have them send it to the bid room. Within a few minutes, it's going to come back to you with any applied discounts, 0 to up to 15%. And then, you get that additional kind of. And if you pay with a registered card, you get on top of that the other 2%. And that will, that is not going to be at the checkout, 0 to 15. You get that at the checkout, but the 2% gets accumulated at the end of the 6 months. Now, the only thing that I wouldn't send through the bid room is the paint, because you get a better deal with the 20%. You get that right away. The bid room, its maximum is just 15%. So you can get 7, 8, 11. So anything is going to be under the 20%. I'll keep the paint separate. Also, I do update this every 6 months. So in the past 6 months, Home Depot did pay out to chapter members, more than $500,000. And the average rebate per member was over $1,500. Now, I believe Duncan went over pricing.
Yeah, I just want to confirm this April, you should have had your rebate or your check by now. The gift cards did go out and the rebate checks have been sent. So I did look at the numbers. The numbers are actually higher per member now. So the average member, now taking all our members and what we've paid back, the average member got back $1,553 for this past 6 months. So it actually went up. So if you're doing, if you're not doing anything, then people are actually using their Home Depot and making some serious money by doing rehabs, and we'll get into that a little bit later too. But I'm sorry to interrupt. Just to tell you the numbers are last year, last 6 months.
No, but I mean, like within one rebate period, you get like that 1,500. If the Boston RIA membership is just like $300 for one member, or like $400 for 2 members, that's alone is per year is enough to buy you like 5 years worth of membership. So that's alone like is a big value right there. In addition to all of the other benefits that we get here, in addition to the education as well. If you'd like to become a member, Kelly is the one that handles that, and she's absolutely fantastic. I would call or text her. Definitely take a picture of the screen so you wouldn't lose her number, or better if you can text her right now and just like say, Kelly, just I'm interested, give me a call or set up a time with her. She will take care of you, and basically it has to go through Kelly first, because the information has to exactly match for it to work, for their system to know that you're a member. So for example, you need to like sign with a certain email and phone number and address with her, and that's the same info that I'll be using. The process is really easy. We do it directly from the Home Depot website. Takes about 10 minutes. And you start right away. Thank you all. That's it. Thank you all for your time and for your listening. And I'll give you back the screen.
Thank you. I do want to mention also that for the Home Depot, Sarah probably would, if you, as you join the Boston RIA, after you go through Kelly, that usually not usually Sarah gives everyone a call to welcome them and make sure that they are logged into Home Depot's system correctly, and that your benefits will start applying. I think you have a direct way of getting that paint, that 20% paint, like within a day, so she can expedite the process if you really need some orders done. I just want to say, for the bid room and using it a lot ourselves, I mean, even if you don't have a rehab project outside of your own home, you're probably buying stuff for your house all the time from Home Depot, or you should be. It adds up super fast. I'm amazed how much money we spend at Home Depot just on our own personal goods. And that bid room really does give some great discounts. So the only thing I find that you can't really get discounted because they're selling at rock bottom prices already is wood and drywall. Everything else they discount like crazy. So even if you had to buy 10 power tools, just go there and you're going to get a nice discount using the National RIA code. There is a code that you have to put into the system, which triggers all of this goodness that you're going to get. So Kelly for memberships, Sarah will reach out to you, and then we'll go from there. So I got to share my screen again. Give me one sec here. Where am I? Sorry, I'm just. Oh, by the way, while we're speaking about that, Walter is off doing some other things, so I'll be hosting for a while. Let me see if you can see my screen. Sarah, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay,
Not yet.
hold on.
I
Let me-
can't see it either.
Okay, let me figure this out, guys. I'm getting used to Zoom here. Share screen, and I want to go to my PowerPoint. There we go. Share. There we go. And Sarah's back up. You should be able to see that now.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see that.
Awesome. All right. So I just want to give a shout out also tonight to our money lenders. We have quite a few vendor members. They may be online. If they are, please raise your hand. So I do want to say to you that don't let money ever be an issue for doing any of your deals. The money is there, from hard money to private money, to all sorts of money that we have available. And once you become a member, we share their resources, contact, how that money is used. We even on this call, I'm going to offer you proof of funds up to $500,000 in a letter format. So we can go higher than 500,000 if you just want to, if some realtor says, look, I need a proof of funds, you can go to this website and just type in your information, and it will spit out a letter from our money lender who will, and this is really actually very important for wholesaling deals. We'll do the A to B, the B to C transaction. So you actually close on the deal and then you sell the deal. So instead of just flipping a contract, you're actually doing the wholesale deal, you're closing it and opening it. And that is something for you tonight to write down: quickturnmoney.com, free proof of funds. When you have feeling that, hey, I have money behind me and I can get this, because this is basically rental money. It's just, it's going to cost you 1% basically to rent this money over a short period of time. And it comes out of your profits. So you're not really, putting anything down to do this. You're going to go out and make a lot more offers. So once you join, you have access to all our money lenders, and it's a great deal. And they're very willing to work with brand new people. And brand new people need a little bit more help than a seasoned professional, but they're there, very willing to help you do that. So I just want to give a shout out to our money lenders in the group. We do have a monthly newsletter that goes out. If you haven't signed up for it, just please go to the front page of our website, Boston Real Estate Investors Association.com. and you'll see this little blue box right underneath our banner, and just put your name and email address in there. And that way you will get not only the monthly newsletter, you'll get property alerts, et cetera. So we have some really good things coming this year. So we want to make sure you're first in the know. Guys, also, we've been talking about the cruise in our newsletter, and that it is now sold out. There is a wait list that is open. The cruise, if you didn't know, is from Seattle up the Inside Passage. What I like about it, it's not only a beautiful cruise, you get the network, make a lot of friends, but it's a tax write-off too. So it's in September 8th through the 15th. If you want to get yourself on that waiting list, just go to nationalreacruise.com and put yourself on it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've been on this one a couple years ago. We go somewhere new usually every year. This one's a repeat. It was so well liked. So please go to National Ria Cruise and get yourself on the wait list. And the easier way to know and get news about the activities we do is get on the newsletter list, so you can hop on board. I want to announce, I talked about it last month, but I actually want to see if I can get Carla to talk about that. Let me see. Carla, are you with us? I see her in here. Our new South Shore group. This is in-person networking. Give me one sec here, folks, and I'm going to find Carla.
Duncan, Carla texted me shortly in a little bit ago in chat and said that she's driving at the moment.
Okay.
So as not to call on her.
Okay, so hi, Carla. I know you're driving. So this is our latest group, and we are going to be setting up subgroups of Boston RIA all over Massachusetts. It's taken us a while to get back from COVID. So the plan of action here is that we're going to keep our general meeting online because of traffic and not everybody able to get there. And it's easier for getting general announcements out and our keynote speaker every month to be heard by everyone. But everybody likes that in-person networking. So this is the first one we set up. There'll be other ones coming. But for this particular one in the South Shore, will be the first Monday of every month from 6 to 8 p.m. This is really, a fun and networking event. There is, a little bit of education, a lot of networking, but there's a lot of fun going on too. So this is at the Beer House, Stellwagen Beer Co. in Marshfield, Mass. So that's the first Monday every month. You do have to register for it. The usual cost of that is just, to share in setting up the room and whatever is $10. But you can get hold of Carla Nee. Her details will be on our event calendar where you can register. So we ask you to, check us out down there if you're close by. Other than that, we will be having some sessions coming up closer to other areas of Boston. So again, we got a lot going on. Join us tonight. We want to have you as a member. And as a member, some of the other benefits you'll get is when we do our main big events, you'll get free entrance to that. Subgroup meetings, discounts, member benefits. We have so much going on, and I really invite you to take a look at our website under membership. And see what we have. It's really a no-brainer. And it's $280 for one person, and it is $400 for a couple. So just to give you an example, some of the member benefits, tons and tons of stuff. So please reach out to Kelly. We definitely on the path to help you succeed. Kelly's number again is 864-906-4111. And she'll get you set up either through a application she can send you via email, or online. And again, as I mentioned, Sarah will take care of you joining the biggest program we have to get you money back right away. And discounts is our Home Depot program, among many of the others. So right now, what I want to do is our have, needs, and wants. So this is an open session, and I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. So if you have something, you want something, need something, please share it with the group. I'm also going to ask that you put it into the chat also, because at the end of the meeting, I would like everyone to copy everyone's information from the chat so you can contact with them. I do not pass the chat out after the meeting's over. That's one of the benefits of being online, having that, copy and pasting of the chat box so you can get in touch with these people. So put your name and email and phone number into the chat with what you're looking for, what you have. If you're going to speak, please keep it to less than 1 minute. And please, like I say, no advertisements, though. We're really trying to help people, what they need and want. So let me just go to the participants here. And let's see who first would like to request, have, or share. And just raise your hand in the chat box maybe first, or unmute yourself. Hold on, let me see if I can. Hello.
Hello, this is Tom.
Hey, Tom, how you doing? Why don't you tell us what you got going on and what you're looking for, what you have.
Well, this is more of a question. The President of the United States has said that according to your credit rating, the interest rates are going to be higher or lower. How's that going to work? Any ideas? Anybody know?
Well, we are going to be, okay, so we do have people on the ground representing the entire national RIA on Capitol Hill. And on our calendar, we have a session called RIA Now, and it is purely about our legislative updates. That is going to happen next week. I have not seen the official opinion of the National RIA yet, but I'm expecting that shortly. So I am not going to be able to say anything. There's a lot of blowback already on that. So I'm interested to see what will happen, if it will be just an idea with a lot of blowback and nothing moves forward, or we shall see. But the National RIA will come out with a statement probably within the week.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me go to anybody else unmute themselves and
Duncan, we had a request to please show the slides in presentation mode, full screen. Right now we see all of your background too. There we go.
all right, so here we go. I am unmuted now. Who else would like to chat and tell us what they got? What you're looking for a deal? Do you have money for a deal? All right.
Hi, hello.
Well, hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
How you doing, Duncan, Kelly, the rest of the team? How's everybody going?
Very, very
Hi.
well.
Yeah, I had a question. I'm a starting real estate investor. I'm focused mainly on wholesaling, but my main strategy I want to pursue is creative financing. I wanted to see if you, by any chance, your team and everybody that you work with, by any chance, associate with that.
Yeah, you know what? I think creative financing is a wonderful way to go. Um, and it is something as a new investor starts out, it can be a little bit overwhelming because um, I found that there's hundreds of ways to do creative financing. I know in my journey, when I started, I'm like, oh my God, they told me to make 3 offers, to every deal, you want to do. And I'm like, 3 offers, I can barely write one. And this is when I started 20 years ago. So, it eventually clicks in, and you learn like, okay, if it's my price, your terms, if it's, your price, it's my terms sort of deal. And
Mhm.
it's getting to a point where, I always like to make win-win situations. So yes, we do have people that can help guide you with creative financing. Um, Even our private money lenders still do creative financing in regards to they can work with creative financing offers. So we do have speakers during the year that teach creative financing. Um, so it will be covered during the course of our yearly program for sure. And like I said, this is in the chat. If you're looking for something particular for somebody, just get your name and your number out there. And it, really comes down to networking and just absorbing this information and listening to what other people are doing and making offers. Sarah is say an investor friendly realtor. And that includes helping put offers together that are creative in nature. So, again, work with an investor-friendly realtor, and you really got to let her know, like, okay, what are you dealing with, money-wise? Work your numbers, and from a realtor point of view, she can help you out there.
100%. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, guys, for
Hey
my
guys,
technical. Yeah, hello. Who's speaking?
Dante.
Hey, Dante, how can we help, sir?
So I'm getting into starting out my own wholesaling business. I'm looking to grow my buyers list, looking for some eager investors around the Massachusetts area. I'm going to leave some of my information in the chat. If anyone's interested to talk, to let me know how I can help you guys find the best deals. Please feel free to contact me.
Awesome, Dante, great. Thank you very much. And I really want everybody to do that. And again, if you're not doing it online, get into one of our groups. If there is a wholesaler out there and he's, at this point of my career, it's like, hey, the wholesaler is great. I'm going to make the majority of money on doing the rehab, the repositioning, what have you. So, wholesalers are worth their weight in gold. It's a quick way for them to make money. It's a great resource for you, especially if you're not strong in marketing. So please get Dante's information. If you're also wanting to grab a list of buyers, that's what we're here for. I'm going to open up pretty shortly after we have our mid-year conference in Vegas. We meet in Vegas every year. Some new aspects of our website where that will have your ability to list your own properties right to real estate investors in Massachusetts and beyond, who are all members of National RIA. So that's just a little bit of a tease there, but it's going to be another vehicle for you to find great deals through our wholesalers that we have. Okay. So anybody else?
One more, Mike Murphy here.
Hey, Michael, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Duncan. I just
Good.
wanted to announce that I just started a new hard money brokerage firm.
Awesome.
Tell
us more.
And we had a great Zoom meeting yesterday with a marketing company for leads. And they are also a lender. And the rates for all their products are the best that I've seen. We can be very competitive. We also have Elite Solar marketing the government incentivized residential solar program with no upfront costs for the homeowner. If they need a new roof, we give them a new roof. No money out of their pocket. If they don't need a new roof, they could get some sort of cash up to $10,000 depending upon the home. And so there's hard money, solar, and I'm a licensed real estate agent, but I have a long-term relationship with a commercial broker out of Florida that's been in the business for over 20 years, and he allows me to market his off-market commercial assets, primarily multifamily, hospitality, some office, some retail, some self-storage, some RV parks, some mobile home parks, but mostly multifamily. And
All right.
most of these are in the southern states. So if there are any investors that invest in any of those asset classes, I have plenty of opportunities for consideration.
All right, super. And please put your information into the chat.
did.
I personally think the southern states, and a lot of people say, oh, there's no deals in Boston, which, you know, I don't agree with, but there are plenty of deals in the southern states. We have a lot of opportunity coming into the commercial market with, you know, with these interest rates, loans coming due, refinancing, et cetera. That and just with remote workers now, you know, a lot of office buildings are not going to be full, so they're going through conversions. So there's a lot of opportunity. So I would suggest to surround yourself with as many opportunities as possible. You know, learn one, but be open to not only other opportunities in the real estate market, but just learning different techniques, using different money sources. There's a lot to learn in real estate, but you know, just stay open. There's tons and tons of opportunity. You all should be doing deals, you know, without any excuse. And also, you know, the location. The southern states are great for doing deals in. So anybody else?
Duncan, I'll jump in there. Another Michael here. So I have a wholesaling business with a VA making calls in Kentucky and Arizona. So if anyone is interested in learning about out-of-state investing as well, both are two pretty different markets depending on what you're looking for. Kentucky is probably going to be a little bit more cash flow heavy, and Arizona is going to be a little bit more on the equity side. Of course, we can, you know, find things that do cash flow in more of the tertiary markets as well. So I'll put my info in the chat as well too, if anyone wants to talk about that or is interested in out-of-state deals.
Awesome. Yeah, I would agree with you. Kentucky probably provides more cash flow. Though Arizona has some very interesting opportunities. A lot of people piling into Arizona, so the demand there is great. That depend. Phoenix probably more so than some of the other areas, but you know, ton of opportunity, a lot of good equity to be made, especially if you're doing some rehabs too. So yeah, great. Thanks for that in the chat. And guys, remember, copy and paste this chat into you. Anybody else before I turn over to our speaker tonight? And I'll go through that.
Hi, Mike, can you put your phone number in the chat? Both of you?
Yes.
Michael
Yes,
Murphy
sounds good.
and the young man that just talked. Awesome, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so without any further ado, then I am going to make Tom a host and introduce him. All right, I'm going to co-host. Yes. Hello, Tom. Are you with us? All right. I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm having a little difficulty hearing you. I'm going to make you a full host, and see if that helps a little bit. Give me 1 second here. Just make him a full host.
Let's try that. I think that might have been the.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you're the full host now, Tom. And if you could just make me a co-host, so I can grab some links as we go through here.
Absolutely.
I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, guys, there's Tom. All right. Let me tell you about Tom. I've known Tom for, I don't know, gosh, at least 15 years. T- Tom, you're looking really healthy.
20
man.
years. It's 20 years. 20 years now.
Treating you
Oh,
well.
you're aging me fast, Cal. Wait.
Yeah. So yeah, Tom and I haven't seen each other in person for over 2 because of COVID and that, but we're finally meeting up in Vegas shortly. Tom's got a great family. He's actually president of both the DC and the Baltimore area, I believe, and
DC and Tampa and DC, Tampa.
DC and Tampa area, excuse me. Yeah, you're new in Tampa. See, even Tom, who lived up north, has gone to the south because of the opportunities and the lifestyle and the warmth. It looks like it's treating you very well, Tom. And I'm like, got a suntan and everything now. He's got a wonderful family. He's actually very active within National RIA itself on the board. So Tom was investing even before I was. So Tom's very, very experienced, not only investing in the northern states, but in the southern states, got a good handle on what's going on nationally around the country. So who better to teach you wholesaling than Tom Zeev? And one of the things I like about Tom, he's no nonsense. He holds you accountable. He tells you like it is. There is absolutely no fluff when it comes to Tom. He breaks it down into very easy steps. He has hundreds, if not thousands, of successful students. I'm looking at Kelly now instead of Tom. I don't know why. Can we put on Tom though, Kelly? I think she pinned herself to the screen.
I didn't touch anything.
Where's Tom going? Okay, hold on. And somebody's giving Tom a shout out now. Tom,
I just
hold
met
on.
them. I hope that works.
Okay, now I'm looking at Sarah. Where'd Tom go?
Oh, I just pinned him. So
Still
it
here.
didn't.
You're still there. I want to look at you, Tom. Sorry, now I'm looking at
What?
Sarah. Nothing personal. I just there you go. Okay.
I just pinned him.
Okay, so I'm going to put myself on mute, guys. I'm going to let Tom take it away. He's going to be teaching us for about 90 minutes. Tom, you're going to allow questions at the end, I believe.
Absolutely.
All right,
And
guys.
let me open up the presentation for everyone as well.
All right,
then we'll
I'm putting myself on mute.
Thanks, Duncan. Good to see you. Good to see everyone. Man, I'll tell you, make the time feel like it's been a while, hasn't it? We've been known you guys a long time, so all good. All right, you should be able to see my screen now. Someone give me kind of give me a wave at the screen or a fist bump or a high five. All right, thanks, guys. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, guys. Awesome. So let's talk about wholesaling. So I'm going to tie into exactly what Duncan was saying. I hear literally everywhere I go, northern states, southern states, western states, whatever. Everyone says, oh, there's no deals here. That doesn't work here. It's not working well here. The time has passed here. Well, how is that possible everywhere? And yet there's still people doing deals everywhere. So I suppose the first thing we need to do is just scrub all of that nonsense out of our minds and think about what it is that we do as real estate investors. We look for motivated sellers. Motivated sellers are motivated because they have a problem. Problems happen because life is happening. Life is happening everywhere. Life is happening in Boston. It's happening all across Massachusetts. It's happening in the Northeast and the South and the West. And it's always happening. People are always getting into trouble with properties and need to sell. And that's where they need us. Does that make sense, guys? That is 100% what I'm after. So that's why I think it's always a good time to learn how to build your real estate business. Now, I'm going to talk about it from a wholesaling perspective. I'll explain what wholesaling is as well. But what I want you to remember is that the core of what I'm teaching you is marketing and negotiation. And those skills are skills you need no matter what type of real estate investing you want to do. So if you're buy and hold or commercial or self-storage or Airbnb or rehabs, it doesn't matter. You always have to find them and negotiate them. And that's the core of what wholesaling is all about. So I call it 60 days to done because that's basically all it takes. It's going to take 30 days to find the deal. You put it on the contract and you've got 30 days to close it. 60 days, we're done, we're out, and we get paid, which is really cool. So I would suggest if you're not driving around, I would grab some pen and paper and take some notes Specifically, when I start drawing, I'll switch over to a drawing screen in a little bit. I like to draw. I think drawing kind of gets points across really well. So I'm going to be drawing some pretty cool diagrams, and you'll enjoy drawing them along with me. I also want to do that and have you participate because I don't want you falling asleep. I know it's Zoom. Sometimes staring at the screen can be a little bit down. I mean, we've all been doing it for 3 years now, but I don't want you joining that brotherhood of boredom. So I'm going to give you a lot. I'm going to talk fast. I'm going to talk goofy. I know everyone in the Northeast can handle talking fast. That's not a problem. I also need to do it because Duncan and Kelly made me a promise to strictly be offline no later than midnight. So I figured that's good. So it'll be good. We won't keep it too long, just until midnight. Duncan's already nodding off. All right, good. So, all right, I promise. Give me I don't know, hour 15 or so. We'll be in good shape. So I have a couple of specific goals tonight. The first one is I want to talk about what I'll call your missing piece. I think you have a missing piece, probably missing pieces. And if we could identify those, we could figure out where you're stuck. And when we know where you're stuck, well, we can get you unstuck. So I want to do that. And this is important no matter if you're brand new or if you've been investing a while and you don't quite feel like you've gotten your business to where you wanted it to be, like you might have made a slightly wrong turn. We can correct that by identifying what the missing piece is. Everyone's got one. So let's find out what it is for you. And it's a little bit different for everybody. So the exercise I'm going to bring you through, it works for everyone, even though it's giving each one of you individually a specific answer, which is pretty darn cool. My second goal is to get some quick results. I want to show you how to make $9,600 in the next 60 days without ever actually owning a property, without having to put it under, without having to buy it and take the deed in your name. You're just going to put it under contract and then sell it off to somebody else, probably somebody else from Boston area. So it works out really good that way. And $9,600 is the average of what my students do nationwide. I think, honestly, given your Massachusetts prices, you'll probably beat that average, but I still think when we're making calculations, it's okay to be on the conservative side. So we'll say $9,600 bucks, which I think is a good thing to do. And number three, I want to give you a specific action plan, a real specific action plan for getting down to exactly what that means for you. How are you going to make it happen? So I'll be talking you through that in a little bit as well. So first, let's start off by defining wholesaling. Yeah, let's define it, because if we look it up in the dictionary, you'll understand why I actually can't stand the word, which is a little odd, being primarily a wholesaler and not liking the word that defines what I do. If you look it up in the dictionary, Mr. Webster says that the wholesaler is the merchant middleman. Well, what on earth does that mean? Gee, Daddy, someday when I grow up, I want to be a merchant middleman. Nobody talks like that. We don't know what a merchant middleman is. And then the one thing we do kind of key on is the middleman aspect of it, which, wait a minute, what are we supposed to do with the middleman? We're supposed to cut the middleman out. I wouldn't be the guy that gets cut out. So that doesn't make any sense either. So I kind of want to throw the word wholesaling away. I'd rather call it 60 days till done. Sometimes I refer to it as flipping, but flipping's a little inexact because I'm flipping a contract, but rehabbers who fix it up and then resell it, they call that flipping too. I asked my attorney, I said, well, what do you think I should call it? She says, I would call it assignments because you're assigning contracts. Oh, that's a very legal definition. I said, oh, well, that's great. So everyone's going to come to hear a guy speak about assignments. It sounds either like schoolwork or journalism school. Neither one's that exciting. So the word's complicated. I'm going to use all the different terms. I might say rapid cash generation. I'll say wholesaling. I'll say flipping. I'll say assignments. Just know what I mean is that we're going to put a property under contract and sell it to another investor for profit and do it in 60 days and be moving on. So here's how it works. Take a look at this. We are marketing for a motivated seller. So let's say it's Susie, the seller, and there's Susie, and Susie has a house. And maybe she's gotten a little bit older. Maybe she's my stereotypical 82-year-old female seller. And people say, geez, Tom, why is it a female seller? It's almost always an 82-year-old female seller when I'm dealing with older sellers. And there's a reason for that. I don't mean to shock any of you out there, but guess who goes first, fellas? Yeah, right? We tend to go first, just the way it is. So there's a lot of 82-year-old widows with houses that are maybe not in as great of shape as when they bought it 40, 50 years ago. Their kids have grown up and moved on and not in the house. They don't need all that space anymore. A lot of times their knees aren't working that well and they want to move down south into warmer weather. And you're going to hear that all the time. So you deal with that a lot. What's also very cool about the 82-year-old female seller, she's from a generation where a 30-year mortgage meant that you were supposed to pay it off in 30 years. And that's, so she's free and clear and has no mortgage. You know, not like the kids these days where they try to refinance 17 times in the last 3 years and suck every penny of equity out of it. This is a different generation. And so things are paid off. Now, think about it. If she has no mortgage on the property, what kind of deal can she take from you? What kind of offer can she accept? Well, the answer is she can take any offer, anything. She can literally say yes to anything if it solves all her other problems. And that's what we're after. And that's what we're going to look at. So there's Susie, the seller, and her house. It's run down. It's dilapidated. It's a little bit out of date. It's not going to sell for top dollar as is. That's part of the value play that we're looking for. So along come you and me, the rapid cash generator wholesaler. And we show up with a contract. Now, I use a simplified 4-page contract. I wrote a 4-page contract with 2 attorneys to make sure it covered everything I needed to cover, but not just be bloated like all these other board contracts everywhere. I mean, there's just these, you know, these 30, 40, 50, 5-page contracts that are kind of complicated and confusing and scary to people. I wanted it just simple so they can sit at the kitchen table and read it. I got it down to 4 pages. And I'm happy about that. So I show up, I negotiate back and forth with the seller, and we come to an agreement. She says yes. She signs my 4-page contract. It's still not legally binding. There's one thing I got to do. I gotta put some money down. I gotta bind it. So I bind my contracts with a portrait of Benjamin Franklin with a $100 bill. $100 is all you need to legally bind a contract. You have to do it, otherwise you're not legally bound. Your signature alone is not enough. So I put that $100 out and bind that contract. Now, that $100 is safe if you're using my contract because there's all these eject buttons built in. So you ever needed to get out, press the eject button. Something goes wrong, press the eject button. And when you press the eject button and bail out, you grab your $100 on your way out and everything is safe and you're not going to get stuck. That's an important point because it helps you move ahead fearlessly because you're not going to get stuck. So what do I do now that I have this property under contract? Well, I could fix it up, you know, buy it, fix it up and resell it myself. That's rehabbing. I could buy it myself, rent it out as a traditional landlord or rent it out as an Airbnb or rent it out to travel nurses, all these other different things that are occurring these days. And also I could assign that contract to somebody else. I can come to Boston REIA and find who does want to rehab properties, who does want to landlord properties, and quite simply assign my contract to them. So let's say I do it. Let's assume it's a rehab example. It's run down, it's dilapidated, it needs some work. I go to Boston REIA and I look for the rehabbers. Like, who are my rehabbers? Who wants to swing the hammers, make the places beautiful, go for the big bucks and make good money on their deal? Well, great. So I shop the deal around to them. I build a list of people that I've met at Boston REIA. It's my buyer's list of people that want to buy properties from me. Great. I shop the deal to them, say, hey, I've got this property under contract. It's 123 Main Street, Boston, Massachusetts. And these are the numbers on it. These are the photos, and this is the comps, and this is what I'm asking. And they take a look and they go, okay, that works. And when they're happy with that, we have to do a contract. That contract, and write this one down because you may or may not have heard of it before. That type of contract is called an assignment contract. I prefer you to 99.9 times out of 100 use the assignment contract. There's other ways of wholesaling. You might have heard of double closing or putting in a trust or an LLC and then selling that. But all that stuff's more complicated and generally not needed. I want to see you use an assignment because it's simple, it's straightforward, and it makes it relatively easy to do. And that's going to keep your speed up and that's going to keep you moving right. So it's a 1-page contract. My assignment is 1 page. Now it's got 8 super powerful clauses that you got to have to make sure you can still control the deal. You can still control your seller, control your buyer, make sure if anything goes wrong, you got control over it, but it's only 1 page long. So again, it keeps it super simple. What that contract effectively does, it says, look, Tom's got a contract to buy Susie's house. Susie's the seller, Tom's the buyer. Well, the assignment contract says, anywhere you see Tom's name, swap it out for the new person's name. And they're the ultimate end buyer now. So what happens when we go to settlement is, watch this. At settlement, I'm not the one showing up with the money, right? You and me, we don't need to show up with any money. It's our ultimate end buyer. It's the rehabber in this example, is showing up with the cash. Some of that cash comes over to you and me. That's our wholesale fee, our assignment fee, our project fee, our whatever they want to call it. I don't care what my settlement company decides to call it. I just want to make sure how they label it. I just want to make sure they label it on the settlement sheet so everything's fully disclosed. I don't hide anything. It's on the settlement sheet, so they can put it on there, label it however they see fit, because they're the ones that have to be compliant with everything federal, state, and local. So I let them label it any way they want. I just want to make sure it's there. Great. So I get my chunk of money. I'm happy about that. The lion's share of that money goes to my seller. So it's my ultimate end buyer paying my seller to buy the property. And then the property itself passes directly from the seller to the ultimate end buyer, never coming over into my name, right? This doesn't come into your name or my name. This goes directly from the seller to the ultimate end buyer. That's super important because it's keeping you off the chain of title. It's keeping you from having to pay, double settlement fees, double doc prep fees, double title insurance, double everything. And it's keeping you from paying something really nasty. It's keeping you from paying tax, but particularly short-term capital gains tax, which, depending on your tax bracket, it's going to wipe out about a third of your deal. About a third of your profits will disappear to short-term capital gains. So skip that. Don't do it that way. You get short-term capital gains by owning the property. So don't own it, assign it. Now you don't have to pay that nasty tax. You might get taxed at the end as earned income, but we are going to deduct everything humanly possible out of your business first. So like Duncan was saying, go on the cruise, it's tax deductible. Your membership with Boston REIA is tax deductible. You're driving around looking for deals, it's tax deductible. All of your pens, paper, postcards, mail, everything is tax deductible. So we're going to deplete what we can against your profits. And hopefully you won't be paying any tax, but you certainly won't be paying that guaranteed loss of a third of it to short-term capital gains. So that's the definition of wholesaling in a nutshell. How did I get started doing this? Because it's not a natural thing to think about. Hey, I'm going to put properties on the contract and sell them to other people in groups. Like, no one kind of thinks of that as a normal thing. I certainly didn't. Let's rewind. Let's go back to 2001. So we're like 22 years ago. It's been a while. There I am in 2001. That's me on the left. I'm not sure you can see my mouse, but second from the left. That's a youngish looking me and a bunch of my buddies on a raft in India, in the Ganges River in India. I had a job a couple years out of college. I was fed up with that job. I didn't like that job. I wasn't happy with the job, wasn't happy with the commute, certainly wasn't happy with the pay. I'm sure somebody out there can understand that. So I felt trapped and stuck and had no idea what to do. I looked at my finances. I mean, I knew there was always more month than money, but I didn't realize how bad I was falling behind by putting too much darn money on credit cards and spending money I didn't have. I had basically dug a hole $113,000 deep. So I'm 113 grand in debt. And I'm sitting there going, how do I get out of this? I mean, without a gun or without white powder, how do I get out of 113 grand in debt? And I couldn't figure anything out. So I did the only logical thing, and that was escapism. I just saved up my 2 weeks of vacation, booked a big old trip with my buddies, said, hey, let's go have adventures on the other side of the world. And I spent more money that I didn't have on those credit cards that they should not have let me have. Here I was all excited and happy because I'm out, right? I'm escaping. I had 2 weeks off and I'm finally living the life and I'm crashing down the river and it's super adventurous and fun. And then we hit a very strong rapid, a class 5 rapid, and the boat gives a kind of weird twist and turn and I can't stay on. And I go whoosh off the side and then under the water, without really a good chance to catch my breath, and I'm stuck. I can't breathe. I'm starting to get worried. I'm bouncing around. I'm flipping and I'm turning and I'm bumping in the rocks, and I don't know exactly what's happening. And I got a helmet on, but I'm thinking, what if I face plant on a rock? I've got a life vest on, but what if the water pins me up against some of these rocks underwater and I can't get out? I mean, water pressure is nothing to mess around with. And then rather than like starting to get extra nervous about all that, I actually just got mad. I was mad. I was angry. I was angry at myself. Like, what have I done? All I've done is go into debt. All I've done is spend myself into oblivion. And my solution is to just escape for a couple of weeks and spend more money. Like, that's not solving any problems. And so I swore to myself that if I get out of this, things are going to be different. The only problem was I didn't know how. So sure, I lived, obviously. I got out. Oh, okay, I'm up. That's it. The trip was fun. I came back home and I was still stuck. That was the problem. I had no idea what I was going to do to dig out of this. In fact, I got back and I was still chained to the desk of my job. In fact, I was kind of drowning again. This time I was drowning in debt. But then I lucked out because a friend of mine handed me a book, handed me a copy of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm willing to bet you guys have read it. In fact, why don't you pop into the chat? If you've read it, give me a yes. Because I bet there's going to be a lot of people that have read this book. Yep. Dante saying yep. Frank saying yes. Carissa, Jatel, Michael, Valerie, Stephanie, Stan. Man, I can't keep on. The chat's moving fast. So, all right. So basically everyone's read the book. It's an awesome book, right? It's super duper exciting. I love that book. But how much actual how-to knowledge does it give you? Like rubber meets the road, how do you make things happen? It gives you none of that. All Rich Dad says is there's one thing you need to do in your life. That's buy rental properties, right? You'll find success in real estate. So buy rental properties. Okay. So here I am, 113 grand plus the cost of a trip to India in debt. No idea what to do. I don't even own my own house. And I'm thinking, okay, I got to go buy rental properties. So with all of that absolute brilliant genius, I actually gave the book to my sister. And she had the same epiphany. She went, this is our problem, Tommy. This is why we're stuck. We got to buy rental properties. So my sister lives in New York City. And so I went up to visit her and we're talking it through and then we start looking for properties. And so I found this 6-unit building that you see there on the screen in Brooklyn, New York. Landlord friendly New York City, right? I could think of nothing more landlord friendly than New York City. And so the two of us managed to buy a 6-unit building as our very first deal. Now, if you're wondering how you could be broke as a joke and still get the money to buy, it was $450,000 to buy that. Remember, this is 2001. So the mortgage application was literally a mirror. They held the mirror to my mouth. The mirror fogged. I proved I was living. They gave me $450,000. That's the way things were back then. Gosh, I can't imagine why we had troubles in 2008. I mean, it's just shocking. I would have no idea why that would happen. So yeah, now I was a proud owner of a 6-unit building, but here was the problem. Of those 6 units with 6 different tenants, exactly 0 of them were paying any rent. So now I had made a bad situation of drowning financially. I made it worse. I mean, I grabbed an anchor chain and it was heavy. I went, oh man, there was almost no way out of this. In fact, the last time either of us went to see the property, it was my sister Tracy, and she went to try to collect some rent. And one of the tenants got a little mouthy with her and said, hey, I'm sick and tired of you coming around here all the time asking for money, which I thought was just collecting rent. But the tenant then reached out, took my sister's head and smacked it into the wall. At which point I said, no, you know what, Tracy, we're done. We screwed something up royally. This isn't good. This isn't worth dying for. Something's not right. Let's just let it go. Screw it. We're done. Let the bank have it and let's be done with it. So we got into kind of a really big problem because I didn't have a clue what was going on. I didn't know anything other than go buy real estate, right? Ginned up and excited from a great inspirational book, 0 how-to knowledge. I was in deeper trouble than I was before because it's great to be excited, but if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be drowning again. So luckily during that time, I had discovered my version of Boston RIA. Local to me. I was living in Washington, D.C. at the time. And I discovered, again, it was my Boston RIA. And I walked in, wow, all these people doing deals. There were people announcing deals, looking for deals, just like you guys did tonight. And I went, this is incredible. This thing really exists. It's not just late night TV commercials and random books that I sat and read at the library of the bookstore because I couldn't afford to buy them. So it was interesting. So I decided to move my marketing close to the home, and I started putting up bandit signs, and those ugly plastic signs on the side of the road. And I wound up getting 2 properties under contract. Well, the second one closed first, and that wound up being this one. And so what wound up happening was I put this under contract. I said, you know what? Okay, I'm not good at that whole landlording thing. I don't want to deal with tenants at all. I don't need a hole in my head or in my sister's head. So I said, I'm not going to do any landlording. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rehab it and go for the big bucks, because what could possibly go wrong? Right? When you're as good with rehabbing and hammer and nails and carpentry and plumbing and electric and flooring as I am, no, I mean, I was basically walking into another trap. But luckily, at my version of Boston Real, we've got a success story section like you guys have. You can make announcements and things. And I said, hey, my name's Tom, and I got this great property under contract in Dumfries, Virginia, and I'm, which is suburban DC. And I said, I'm going to fix it up and resell it, and it's going to be great. I'm going to make all this money. Everyone said, yay, Tom, that's great. But I lucked out, because at the break, a dude came up to me and said, hey, Tom, I want to buy that property from you. But I said, wait, it's not done yet. I haven't fixed it. He goes, no, I want to buy it right now as it is. I said, but I haven't fixed it. He said, no, I'm going to fix it. I said, well, but that's what I thought I was going to do. He goes, I don't think you can do it, kid. He goes, look, assign your contract to me. I'll pay you, and then I'll take it off your hands. It's the exact kind of property I'm after in the exact area, and my crew's available. And I thought, you can do that legally? And he said, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. I'll walk you through it. And so next thing you know, I got a check for almost 23 grand. I got a check for $22,819.66 from doing basically nothing. No. I mean, I would market it for the deal. I negotiated. I had it under contract because I was planning on doing something with it. And instead, I wound up wholesaling it, not even knowing what wholesaling meant. I thought, that's incredible. $23,000? No gun, no white powder. I can start paying my debt off with this. What if I just do this again and again and again and again? And that's what I did. I focused hard on it for 6 months. I just marketed like mad, on the phone like crazy, negotiated with everybody possible. And that's how I got to my freedom. In not even 6 months, I had my entire debt paid off. Remember, this is still the check writing days. So it's not like you're paying things online back then. With that day I wrote the last check, that was totally awesome. That sense of freedom, that sense of finally like not needing anything anymore, not needing the job. Well, I had quit the job when I bought the 6 unit, because that made so much sense. And then I wound up having to get a temp job to make ends meet. I was able to quit that, and I was so happy. I could travel without worries. I didn't need to beg a boss for time off. I mean, if I wanted to go to the other side of the world and drown myself in some river, I could do so without having to go into any debt to do it. So that was true freedom for me. And that's what gave me life on my own terms. So great. That's what happened to me. But why am I here now? Why take the time to talk to you guys in Boston about this? Why bother teaching any of it? Well, let's move the clock forward a couple of years to 2005. Back from now, but forward from 2001. So a few years goes by, and that's me on the right. And this kid on the left, his name is Mikey Fitzgerald. Now, Mikey is an interesting character. He seemed a little bit kind of scared, a little bit afraid, a little bit desperate. This kind of very intense look in his eye, in a very intense way he spoke. And he said, Tom, can you teach me to do what you do? I said, I'll teach you. I said, no, I don't know, man. That's not my thing. He said, please help. I really need your help. I said, well, what's wrong? What's going on? He said, look, I'm a poor kid from a poor part of town. Like everyone I went to high school with is kind of washed out on drugs, and there's not much going on. He goes, I joined the Army for a few years to get away from all that, Tom. But I'm done. My tour's over. I'm back, and I don't want to get sucked into the same trap that everyone else is in. Can you help me, please? So I said, well, you put it that way. What am I supposed to say? So I taught Mikey everything I know about marketing, everything I know about negotiation, everything I know about contracts, control, and getting paid. And I walked him through his first deal. And he's ecstatic about that. He's holding the check, right? His eyebrows are out of gray. He's super happy. Well, then 2 years after that, it's now 2007, Mikey sends me this photograph. I said, "Oh, that's cool, Mike. Is that a new deal?" He said, "Kind of, Tom, but not really." He said, "That's the house I grew up in, but my parents lost it to foreclosure and got kicked out. I just took everything you taught me in marketing, everything you taught me in negotiation, everything you taught me about contracts, control, and getting paid, and I just bought it back from the bank, and I moved my parents back in. Tom, I want to thank you for taking the time to do that." And I said, "Huh, amazing. Interesting." I'm like, "Well, this teaching thing really is that's really cool. You got your family's house back. All right, awesome." So, well, a bunch more years goes by, and it's 2016. Mikey proudly sends me this photo from the front page of his hometown newspaper there in Hagerstown, Maryland. And it's a picture of the Grand Piano Building. Now, downtown Hagerstown wasn't much going on for a while. It was kind of decrepit, like a lot of little towns across America, right? I know you got little towns in Massachusetts that are right. Boston gets all the action, and everything else just kind of goes to pot, right? And it was the same way here. Well, the Grand Piano Building was a factory for grand pianos. They haven't made a grand piano there in ages. All those jobs went somewhere far away overseas. It went someplace like I'd like to go rafting. So that's where all the jobs are, but they're not here. And so this building sat derelict until Mikey came along. Now, Mikey bought the Grand Piano Building, fixed it up, so we renovated it, and then leased it out. He's got half of it leased out to the University of Maryland. The other half is a bank, a hair salon, and a ballroom dance studio. It's incredible. So he gets on the front page of his newspaper, and it sparks a bit of a renaissance in his little downtown there. Now suddenly someone opens up a coffee shop, and somebody opens up a law office, and somebody opens up a store and a shop. And then next thing you know, you've got all this little bit of life, because people do like going to their downtowns. And so they just haven't had them for many years because they fell apart. So they took somebody like Mike. He said, "Tom, I learned it from you. I took everything you taught me in marketing, everything you taught me in negotiation, everything you taught me about contracts and getting paid, and I got it done." I said, "Gee, Mike, you used my contract?" I said, "Because my contract's kind of a residential contract. That's a commercial building." He goes, "Oh, whatever. I just let the attorneys figure it out," which is like a classic Mikey way of doing it. So now 2 more years goes by. It's 2018. That's Mikey on the left now. That's no longer me on the right. That's Terry Hogan, who was the governor of Maryland. And the governor put Mikey on his council of how to, like his advisory council, of how to fix up the small towns all across the rural panhandle of Maryland. Because he's impressed with Mikey, what Mikey's done. Mikey said, "Tom, if you would have told me years ago, if you would have told anyone in school, if you would have told my parents that I'd be on the governor's council," he goes, "that's just incredible." He goes, I really owe it to you for taking a big risk on me all those years ago." And I said, "Yeah, it's absolutely incredible watching somebody change." So, and then this year, literally 2 weeks ago, Mikey sent me this. You can see the date on there. It's April 26, 2023. That's his hometown newspaper again, the Herald Mail, there in Hagerstown. And there's a picture of Mikey. Mikey looking all grand and happy and bearded now, right? Local investor donates $1.4 million for downtown. This is a guy who is in love with his town. This is a guy who's happy and proud to have turned his town around because he learned what? How to market, how to negotiate, how to get paid. He took to heart everything I taught him. Look at him now. How many years later? I mean, we started in 2005. So it's 18 years. Look at what he's done. Incredible to be able to fork over that amount of money to your town because he loves it. So why am I here? It's simple. I teach people because I want to meet more Mikeys. And I'm willing to bet there's a bunch of Mikeys at Boston RIA. In fact, I bet if you make a little bit of noise in that chat box, if you're a Mikey, say, "I'm a Mikey." Make me a Mikey. I'm a Mikey. I'm Mikey. And it doesn't male or female. I don't care. You can be a Mikey. I don't ask for much. Just legally change your name to Mikey and do what you're told. It's cool that way, right? You can be just like Mikey. There's absolutely no reason not to, because that is what is going to make things happen. That's why I'm here. It's become my deep mission to create Mikeys. So look, I have a goal for you. It's to turn you into a Mikey. And by definition, that means having not just freedom, but total freedom. And there's four types of freedoms that go into making total freedom. There's time freedom, money freedom, location freedom, and energy freedom. I'd like you to write all 4 of those down. Time freedom, money freedom, location freedom, energy freedom. I think most of those are self-explanatory, except for maybe energy. What do I mean by energy freedom? I bet you could think of somebody that you, boy, when you see them coming, you cross the street or get away. Or their name shows up like caller ID and you don't answer the phone because they're just one of those people that suck the living daylights out of you. Like, whoa, right? They're a total downer and you don't like being around them. Well, that's bad energy. So energy freedom is your ability to be away from those types of people. So you've got those 4 types written down: time, money, location, and energy. That's what equals total freedom. I want you to circle the one that's the most important to you. What's the most important freedom to you? Draw a circle around it and write number 1. My guess is you're probably debating between 2 of them, so we won't leave the second one out. Why don't you draw a box around the second most important one to you and put a number 2 next to it? So I don't know, maybe you circle time and you put a box around money. Maybe you circle location and you put a box around energy. Whatever it happens to be for you, I just want to make sure you understand what total freedom means to you. Because when you get total freedom, you've got that freedom to choose, to choose whatever you want to do, when you want to do it, wherever you want to be doing it, with whoever you want to be doing it with. That's what total freedom is all about. It's literally giving you all those options and that choice. I don't want to cheapen it and say it's just about the money. There's obviously a money component to it. You can't avoid that. But it's not just about the money. It's about what the money does for you. Money lets you do meaningful things. But you're the one that has to have that meaning. And the money lets you do it. It gives you that freedom to be able to do it. That's why I want to get you to total freedom. That way you can do the things that are meaningful to you. So what's really cool is I've packaged it all up so it'll do the same thing for you with one really big benefit. There's no drowning required. I've done absolutely enough drowning for all of us. So please, no drowning. I'd rather you just go ahead this way. So let me show you some of the way I want to teach you things. I want to teach you using framework. So get ready to draw, because we're going to draw in a minute. I base my frameworks on road signs. So you look at the screen, you know what those road signs are. I mean, the one on the left is there's a right-hand turn coming. The second one is that it's slippery when wet. The third one is railroad crossing ahead. And then the fourth one is there's a merge, traffic merging in from the right. Well, think about it. You got a simple shape, simple color set, simple design, and the message comes across really quickly. Everybody knows those. And I don't know if you've ever traveled to a foreign country, you don't even speak their language, and yet you know what the road signs mean, because it's that same thing. It's a simplified idea that's conveyed quickly. That's the same thing I do in my frameworks, because I find it to be one of the best ways to teach. And by the best ways to teach, I don't mean that it's the most fun for me, right? I got to come up with all this, I got to draw it. It's the best way to teach because you understand it better and quicker, usually because you're hearing me say it, you're seeing me draw it, and you're drawing along with me. So you're participating. So those 3 different learning styles kind of all in one make it so it sinks in, which is really awesome that way. So framework wise, let me switch screens here. Let's draw on a workbook. Let's see, I've got this workbook open. I'm just going to flip down to a blank page. So let's see here. They keep changing this program on me. They keep moving where the pens are. Okay. Anyway, let's change up the ink color. Let's go with black. I'm going to draw a little bit thicker line. I'm going to draw some circles. I want you to draw 3 overlapping circles. So we said that the goal is to get you to a very beautiful place called total freedom. That's where we're trying to get you. So put total freedom right there in the center where the 3 circles overlap. Because total freedom is it's a beautiful place to be, right? You've got, like I say, everything you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. Great. That's total freedom. But so how do we get there? Yeah, Tom, it's great to have that. Great to daydream about it. But what do we have to do to get total freedom? Well, 3 things. There are 3 categories that we've got to master to be able to get to total freedom. First and foremost, we need to learn how to find deals. So marketing, we got to know how to find them, right? Because once we find leads, then they're not ready to go right off the bat. I mean, you don't answer the phone and have somebody just say, oh yeah, ready to go. No, it takes some work, it takes some effort, it takes some negotiation skills to make it into a deal. So the second thing we need to learn how to do is how to make deals. Then, I mean, the job of a good negotiation is to get people to a single word. You want to get them to say yes. You got to learn how to get them to say yes to you. But from that point, it still doesn't start raining money. We've got to put it under contract and navigate it through till settlement. We have to know how to get paid. So getting paid is the third category that we've absolutely got to master. So find the deal, make the deal, get paid. That's how we're going to get to total freedom. What's interesting is that along the way, some very important, I don't want to call them side effects. Side effects sounds like something bad. These are like extra side benefits that come along with the benefit of total freedom. So when you learn how to find deals, when you build a marketing machine and just keep leads coming in, you get a flow of leads. And the more lead flow you have, the more deal flow you have. And the more deal flow you have, the more cash flow you have. So I see a big benefit of getting your marketing right is that you get into a state of flow. You get flowing. And when you get those leads flowing, the deals start to flow, the cash starts to flow. That is what we are after from building a good marketing plan. Now, when we get good at negotiation, when you learn to take motivated sellers that are a little bit stuck, but you learn to get them from saying no to saying yes to you, what does that do to you? Like when you become quietly more and more confident. So confidence is a giant side effect, side benefit as well. Confidence. You get very confident simply from understanding how to do a negotiation and making that happen. That's why negotiation is the game changer for any business. You'll wind up making more deals, but it's also going to give you more money out of each and every deal because you negotiated a better offer. Like right before we jumped online, I was making somebody an offer and they responded with, I'm going to have to sleep on it. So great. We have an appointment now to talk tomorrow and we will see it. My offer is so low that I don't expect them to say yes, but I'm going low so that they will bring me up. So you start making these offers with just really quiet, raw confidence. And that's a game changer, right? Confidence is a game changer for you in your business. Now, getting paid. Once we get paid, how does that cycle back in to finding more deals? Well, I want you to reinvest back into your business. In fact, from every deal that you make, I want you taking 6.25% of what you make. 6.25% of your profits on every deal. I want you to reinvest it into your business in the form of more marketing, more letters, more postcards, more ads, more driving for deals, more door knocking, more flyers, more whatever it is you are doing. I want you to do more of it. Because when you take 6.25% of your deal, it's not all the money in the world, but it's enough and it is consistent. You will buy more marketing so that you cause your business to grow. So this area is where we get growth. Growth. Okay, so let's look at that. Find a deal, make the deal, get paid. Gives you flow, confidence, and growth, leading on its way to total freedom. I like that. What about you guys? Was it that simple, Tom? It's just 3 things? Yeah. Let's break each of those 3 things down just a tick further so you fully understand what we got to do. I'm going to take each of these 3 things and I'm going to break them into kind of the component parts so that you understand what it is that has to be done. So in marketing, let's start there. The very first thing you've got to get right in marketing is literally your market. Your market is who? Who is it that you're after? Well, you're after motivated sellers. And we said earlier that they're motivated because they have a problem in their life. There's something wrong. Maybe it's something wrong with the property or it's something wrong with themselves, and selling the property would solve that problem. So we're out looking for particular types of people, and maybe they've inherited the property from a death. Maybe they're getting older in age and need to move on. Maybe they're a tired landlord from evictions. Maybe they're heading into foreclosure. Maybe they're an out-of-state absentee owner. Maybe, right? There's a whole bunch of different who. that you're after. That's our market. Once we identify who it is that we're after, now we got to think about what to say to them. What is the message? What is the message? The message is what you say to people. And what I'm specifically after here, ladies and gentlemen, is the message to market match. I want to match the message to the market. So if I develop a list of people who have evicted tenants in the last few months, and I'm thinking they're tired landlords and they want to move on, then I'm going to send them a message that speaks to them and their problems. That's not going to be the same message I send to the people on the divorce list, okay? Because divorced people have, that's a different problem. That's a different message. You got to speak to people and scratch their itch. Don't scratch someone else's itch because they're not going to respond, right? They're not going to feel any satisfaction from someone else's itch being scratched. They're only going to feel satisfaction when you scratch their own itch. So that message to market match is important. Now, the third element of marketing, I'm going to make an argument here. I think that this third element is the secret to marketing. And I hate my, oh, there's a secret. I tell you the secret. This is the secret. It's a secret because nobody does it. Here is the key, let's call it. The key to marketing, I'm going to call it multiply. Multiply. What do you have to multiply? Multiply your efforts. Multiply the number of times you send that same message to the same market. Multiply is repeat. It's repetition. Marketing is a game of repetition. It's a numbers game of repetition. Repeat the process again and again and again. If you're not finding deals from your marketing, it's probably because you haven't done it more than once, or probably not at all, right? We got to fix that. So we want to multiply it. Think of those TV commercials or radio jingles that you can sing along with. It's not because you've heard it one time. It's because you've heard it so many times you're going absolutely crazy. You can't get that song out of your head. That's the power of repetition. We know it's powerful, and yet we don't do it in our own real estate investing businesses. That's what we need to fix. That's what I help you with, all right? So that's finding the deal. Now, when we move into negotiation, the first thing we need to do is pinpoint. We need to start talking to the person and learn to pinpoint their problem. What exactly is their problem? Get them talking about it. Get them telling you what their problems are, because when they tell you what their problems are, then you can put together a package that would solve their problems. You can package up a solution that would work for them. So you know what the problems are? You put together a package that would work and solve those problems. Do they automatically say yes? No, not yet. It takes a little bit of persuasion. So you have to learn to persuade them. I think I spelled persuade right, but I'm not actually sure. I'm such a horrible speller, and I'm dyslexic with vowels, so I'm unclear if I have those U's and A's in the right spot. I can't even tell. Anyway, don't worry about it. You can be a horrible speller and still be a great negotiator. So you're going to persuade them to say yes. When they say yes to you, great. Now, the first thing we have to do is put the property under contract and then navigate it through till settlement. Now, contracts are scary to a lot of people. Ooh, it's legal. There's all this legal business. Yes, we can't avoid it. You have a legal obligation to have a written contract in real estate. You can come to agreement with a spoken word and you can shake hands on it. That's absolutely worthless when it comes time for the settlement. Your settlement company, settlement attorney, title escrow officer, whatever you want to call them, the person that settles the deal, can only legally deal with something that's in writing. So you might have your handshake deal, but you got to sit down and write it out and then both sign it and have consideration on it. So you have to have it under contract. People get scared of the contracts, but like I said earlier, I took the difficulty out of the contract and made a real simple 4-pager. That 4-pager that's easy to read because it makes it really easy to understand. Now, we're still not done yet. You got the property under contract, but it doesn't close automatically. There are going to be certain conflicts along the way. Look, there's going to be conflicts. In fact, I call it the, it's like, Tom Zeeb's rule number 53. There will be drama early or there will be drama late, but there will be drama in each and every deal. You can't escape it. So if if everything's been a pain in the butt, like, man, you know, the marketing and dealing with the person, the negotiation went back and forth and they're clawing at every last bit of it. So if it's driving you crazy, there's all this high drama, but then they say yes and you put it in a contract, good. It'll probably be smooth sailing all the way to settlement because everything will probably calm down because your drama came early. On the other hand, though, if it's been perfect and everything's falling right into place, everything's going so easy, man, this deal is just a piece of cake. Be afraid. Be very afraid. You're probably going to have a wild finish. And so, right, the drama, the drama wasn't early, the drama's coming late, sometimes right up against settlement. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Either way, I want you to be prepared for it. You know there's going to be conflicts. You're getting paid to deal with them, and you're dealing with them by always exercising control. This final element here is control. You will always control everything that you are doing. My 4-page contract, that lets you control the seller. My 1-page assignment contract, that lets you control the buyer. Your contracts, your behavior, your mannerisms, the way you negotiated the deal lets you control the motivated seller, and the way you negotiate with your buyer lets you control your buyer. There's all these things built in to have control elements at every part of the process, because that's how we're going to get the deal done. Okay, now I'm going to admit something. I'm not sure that's quite as easy when you look at, if you just join the webinar now, if you just jump into Zoom now and you look at that, maybe that's not quite as simple as a road sign. Fine. But you didn't just jump in. You watched me do that. You heard me describe each and every piece of it. You saw it happening unfold before your eyes, and hopefully you've been drawing that along with me, so you've been actively involved in it. So now when you look at it, you know exactly what that means. That is as simple as a road sign now, because you understand what it is. So here's my challenge to you. I want you to score yourself right now. Let's see where you're at. This is how we're going to identify your missing piece. There's 9 different elements along the outside. I call those my accelerators. So these are the 9 things you got to get good at. If let's say you're doing great in a category, give yourself a star if you're doing great. If you're only doing so-so in a category, give yourself a squiggly line, and let's call that maybe, it needs some work. Needs work. And if you're not doing good there at all, I don't know what that is. There we go. If you're not doing any good at all, if you're doing awful or non-existent in a category, give yourself an X. So that's the key to what you're doing. And now I want you to go around each of those 9 categories, one by one, and score yourself right now. So maybe you go, hey, I'm no good with the market. I'm no good with the message. I have no repetition. Well, I'm okay talking to people. I put together fantastic packages, but I can use a little bit of work on persuasion. So maybe you put a squiggly line there, right? That's just as an example. I don't know exactly what your chart's going to look like, and everyone's chart's going to look different, but I want you to do that right now. Nine categories. Now, anyone have all 9 stars? Are you doing great in all 9 categories? It's great if you are. I doubt that's the case, though. I bet everyone's got a mix. There might be some people who have all 9 X's. If that's you, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You're getting started. That's what we got to do. We know what we need to work on. Most people probably have a mix to some degree. So guess what? If it's an X or a squiggly line, you need some work. And I want to, my goal is to change the X's into squiggly lines and the squiggly lines into stars. So we're going to move you right off of X to squiggly, and then off of squiggly to star. That's how we're going to get you moving, because now you know, we know where your missing piece is, but we know where you personally are stuck on. Some of you are better at one thing than another. That's perfectly fine. Don't worry about anyone else. Focus on you. Let them be them, you be you. This is how we figure out what you need help with. Well, And I'm going to say congratulations, because you know how many people actually stop and figure out where they're stuck? Now, most people are complaining about something. I don't have enough money. I don't have this. They never stop to think about what is it that they need to work on to be better. Now you know. You know which one of these categories, or which you know, right? Which one of these 9, or which multiples of these 9 you personally need to focus on, and your job is to focus on those starting right now. So let's go here. Think about it. Problems with which one of the 3 keys, the find the deal, make the deal, get paid? Which one's costing you the most so far? And if you solve those problems, how much better would you be doing and move ahead, right? I had you score yourself. Here's what I want you to think about. Write this down. You've got that average. I said the average deal nationwide, $9,600. So I told you your reinvestment in your business is 6.25%. In this case, that's $600. So it's $600 more marketing. But that leaves a balance, doesn't it? That leaves $9,000. I want you to write down, what are you going to spend your $9,000 on? Because that's your profit. You've already reinvested in your business. You've already got more marketing coming. So what are you going to spend money on? In fact, I would love to see a few ideas in the chat. What are you spending your monies on? So don't be shy. Tell me what it is. You know, is it a trip? Is it putting a kid or a grandkid through college? Is it paying off your debt? Is it buying a car? Is it buying a boat? I don't know. There's no judgment on any of it. I want you to know, and I would love to have you share with me. So great. See, saving the purchase of property, fantastic. And oh my God, no, that just seems to be a scroll thing. I haven't been reading the rest of the chat yet. Yeah, doing the job full time, awesome. That's what we're after as well. There's all sorts of things come up for what you're going to spend it with. Catherine, I'm with you. Travel. Maybe that's rafting. Just be careful you don't go overboard if you do that. Susan wants to save to purchase the property and pay off debt. Fantastic. That is, you realize it's okay to pay off the debt because you've already reinvested some of the money back into your business. So you reinvest that money, pay off some debt. That reinvested money creates more deals, which you take some of them, you take 6.25% of the new profits, put that into more marketing. Now you got more money to pay off for that. Well, eventually your debt's gone, and now you just keep going and going. So it's awesome. Let's see. Ben says travel, pay off a little debt, try to get another 9K and quit my full-time job. Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely what we're after with people. And what I generally find, Ben and everyone for that matter, what my students have done is usually they aim to, when they go to quit their job, they're usually aiming to replace their initial salary. But of course, when you really look at it, you're not aiming for your gross, you're actually aiming to replace your net, because now you'll have control over your taxes. So most people aim to replace their net income. Then they say, well, let me just replace what my gross income was, because you certainly know you can survive. Great. Then most of my students aim to double that, which is really awesome. So it works out great that way as well. So awesome. Justine will talk about that a little bit later. And cool, some stuff in there. You save, and Carissa, save the purchase of property and pay tuition. Absolutely, fantastic. So what you all guys all have great ideas for what that is. So let's focus on the business. I said this before. The key to the business is motivated sellers. Let me define it my way, though. I mean, oh wow, motivated sellers. Never heard that one before. I'm going to define it my way, because I think defining it properly changes your mindset, and it's going to change the way you go into a deal, and certainly the way you go into negotiation. A motivated seller needs to sell their property quickly, even more than they want to sell it. They need to sell more than they want to sell, and it's their situation that is making price not the #1 issue in the negotiation. Because of their problem, because of the problem they're trying to solve. That's the most important thing to them, is solving that problem. Price is not the #1. Now think about it. When we start negotiating with somebody, we're investors. We got to get the price that works. So price is our #1 most important thing. However, if it's also their most important thing, well, now there's going to be a winner and a loser, right? If I need price and they need price, we're going to be duking it out, and there's going to be a winner and a loser, and I don't like that. Because as cheesy and corny as it sounds, it's win-win negotiation. I want to win, and I want them to win. That's the only way things really move ahead. Don't let anyone tell you win-win doesn't exist. It totally exists as long as you're not fighting for the same things. So think about it. They're fighting to have their problem solved. We can do that and give them a win. And we can get the price that we want and win as well. So it's win-win because price is not their number one thing. Price is somewhere down the line, we can solve their problem. That is what we are after. Think of how much easier that makes you. When you focus on that in your marketing, people with problems, then you learn to negotiate it right, you're already coming into that negotiation a whole heck of a lot easier because you're just after solving their problem. You're not arguing about the same thing. It's great that way. So this is important because marketing is important because it's the number one reason people fail. People fail out of this business because they can't find deals. Think about the very first circle on the bottom, the circle that was holding the other circles up is finding deals. It's all about the marketing. So there's a problem in marketing, mainly if you get marketing wrong, it'll be tumbleweeds out there. It's like a ghost town. There's nothing. There's no sound. If anything, it's crickets because nothing's happening. There's no deals, period, and that's not a good thing. So you got to learn to turn it around because when we learn to get marketing right, we get a stampede of motivated seller leads, and that is when the cash starts to flow. It comes from getting our marketing machine built and running right. So let me introduce you to one of my Total Traction students. Her name is Neva. And when Neva initially came to me, I always ask people, hey, why are you here? What are your goals? What are you after? What is it that you're after? So, make sure I can help you the right way. So, well, Neva says to me, she says, Tom, I want more time with my family. In fact, I'd like to start having kids, and but I'm a little bit nervous about it. She said, I have a good job, and I'm well paid, but the problem is they're talking about a merger at work, and what always happens when companies merge? People start to get laid off. She goes, what if that's me? Like everything that feels so safe and secure right now could vanish in a heartbeat. Because what if in a blink of an eye, it's all gone? I don't want that to happen to me. And so I want to learn to be on my own and be able to handle things on my own. So I said, okay, I totally get that and understand that. Let's work on it. So I worked on a plan with her to flip houses so that she was able to quit her job. So the first thing she decided she was after was, she goes, well, what's your favorite kind of marketing? And I said flat out, absentee owners. I love out-of-state absentee owners. I send them a postcard. And I gave her the very postcard that I used. She sent that out. She started getting responses. She's going back and forth with responses. She finds a live one, a good one, a motivated seller. The problem was when she described the property to me, it wasn't good. It was an ugly duckling house. An ugly duckling house on an ugly duckling, a dead-end street, but not even a real dead end. It was like this tail end of the street. It didn't just end. It kind of collapsed into a drainage ditch. And there was just, flies and mosquitoes everywhere. And it wasn't nice. It wasn't pleasant. And then the house itself was sitting on top of a small hill with no driveway. And there were 37 steps up to the front door. I said, Neva, this doesn't sound good. I don't think you're going to be able to move this property because who's going to buy it? You're going to sell a rehabber is what? They're going to think about how much money they're going to put in here and then how long it's going to take to find someone that likes a really ugly duckling house and just an awkward part of town. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And sure enough, it didn't. The deal flopped. So Neva was disappointed, unhappy. I don't blame her. But I said, kind of chin up. Let's get back to the drawing board. Let's make this happen. So thankfully, with my properly structured contracts, she didn't lose any money. She pressed the eject button in my contract, grabbed her $100, and escaped out. And that's an awesome spot to be. So, but then she had to go back to drawing board and work on a new plan. So she said, well, maybe if I would have had more buyers. So it never hurts to keep building your buyers list. I said, well, let's get back to your marketing and make more things happen. So she gets back to that postcard marketing and finds out that the second time was the charm. On her second round of postcards, exact same postcard to the exact same list. Second time now. So that repetition, that multiplication, remember I said multiplies the big game changer. The guy calls her and she's going through my deal worksheet, which helps you ask questions. So, you don't have to worry about, you don't have to get scared about what to say. You just ask a question that hasn't been answered yet. And well, one of the questions is, how did you find us? Why did you call me? And the guy says to her, he says, hey, I called you because you're for real. And she said, what do you mean? He goes, I called you because you're for real. Sir, I really don't understand what you mean by that. Do you mind? He goes, look, I get a few of these things in the mail every month, but I never see the same names twice. I got a second postcard from you, so I know you're for real. You're actually in business. So I want to sell this condo to you. Think about that. Think about what that means. The second time was that same postcard, same list, boom. He gets a few in the mail every month. Okay, a few. What's a few? 3, 4, or 5? I mean, 6 is a half dozen, 2 is a couple. So your competition is 3, 4, or 5 people. That's it. Oh, and wait a minute. None of those 3, 4, or 5 people are doing anything twice because he's never seen the same names twice. He decides to sell the condo to her. Fantastic. Neva puts it under contract, goes to her new and improved buyers list, and assigns a contract for $14,700. She makes a great profit, $14,700, as a result of repetition, of some tenacity, of having some faith, even if it's blind faith. Just say, I'm going to do this and it is going to work. I know there are motivated sellers out there. I know there are people that need my help. I'm going to go and make that happen. Oh, and we were saying at the beginning, hey, are there any deals out there? Are there deals in Boston? Well, Neva was in a very hot market, in a very hot area. So she would have that same fear. It's just like Boston. You don't have to worry about it. There are deals out there because there are people out there getting into trouble. So what happens to you? We know what happened to Neva. What happens to you when you implement this into your life? What kinds of things change? What improves? I mean, in Neva's case, her confidence went through the roof. I mean, it shot up through the sky like a champagne cork. It's great that way. She quit her job after her second deal. Her husband's happy. She's time to have the kids. And that's fantastic. She goes, if I only do 4 deals a year and I match what I was making in my high-end corporate job, it's much more enjoyable. Think about that. What if you only did 4 deals a year and you matched what you made? That's a much better year than 2,080 hours a year being spent. That's not even counting the commute, being spent, at the water cooler, and the chit chat and the rat tat tat and the annoying boss and the pesky colleagues and the awful commute, right? All of that can be gone, replaced by your own real estate investing business. That's what I got Neva to, by teaching her marketing, teaching her negotiation, teaching her contracts and control. So what happens to you when your confidence goes up like that? When your confidence, like hers, shoots up through the sky like that champagne cork, how does that change you? And how many of you would like to have that level of confidence that, hey, no matter what happens, I'll be okay? That's awesome. And I'm pretty sure you can't get that from your job. I don't think most people's JOBs allow for that. You might think you have the most safe, secure job ever, but look at what we've seen the last few years. Everything's on its head. It's all gone topsy-turvy. Stronger argument than ever that the only thing you truly can control is yourself and what you choose to do. So I choose to reinvest in myself, because marketing is a very transferable skill. Negotiation is a very transferable skill, and real estate is always needed. Food, clothing, and shelter are the basic human needs. We deal in that first, right? Food, clothing, shelter, we deal in number 3. We deal in shelter. I love that about real estate. It's fantastic. So wait a minute. What did you say you were going to do with the $9 grand from your $9,600 deal? Because in Neva's case, 6.25% for her is now $919 for more marketing. And she's got $13,781 to put into her pocket and spend on whatever she wants to spend it on. Think of how cool that is. So the key, she followed my action plan. I'm going to show you my action plan in a few minutes. So why do people stall out? We know why they fail in the business, but why do they stall? Some people get in and they stall. Nothing happens. Well, you stall out because you can't get people to say yes to you. You got to get people saying yes to you. Otherwise, they stay stuck on no, and that's no good. So here's the big problem. If you don't know what to say to a motivated seller, you freeze up. You kind of get a little scared and you don't move ahead. Maybe it's not just what to say to a motivated seller, but if you don't know how to say it, because how we say things makes a difference too. So all this kind of piles up. And then if you don't know specifically, if you don't know how to say things to get a seller to say yes, they stay stuck on no. And that's not what we want. So we got to get negotiation right, because when we do, we learn to say the right things at the right time. We learn to say everything with confidence because that's the true game changer. And that is what seals the deal. It's going through the negotiation training like I'm starting to teach you now. It seals the deal. It's this back and forth process. It builds rapport. They start to like you. They start to trust you. They know you. They want to do business with you purely from the act of going back and forth with them. That's why it's actually so important to negotiate, because it's that process that seals the deal. The person that gives them what they want right out of the gate without any sort of push and pull, they don't get the deal. You'll get the deal from a little bit of back and forth. It's an odd kind of counterintuitive thing, but that's what works. So look, I love negotiation because it's revolutionized my business. Negotiation is flat out the most important money-making skill of all time, period. You never make money faster than when you're negotiating. Negotiation is also the most important life-enhancing skill of all time, period. Because we're all negotiating all the time, whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not, whether we accept it or not. Think about it. Who out there is married or has a significant other? Are you negotiating all the time? Yeah. Wait. You have kids? Are you negotiating all the? They're negotiating with you all the time. You have a boss. You got subordinates. You got colleagues. We're always negotiating. It's that critically important of a skill to the quality of our life, and yet it ain't taught in school. I can't figure that one out. It's this critically important to everything, to money making, to life, to relationships, everything. And it's not taught. It's not taught in school. It's not even talked about in school. Like, who's taking the negotiation class? Every now and then someone tells me, oh, I took a negotiation class. It's always in business school, and it's always about like contract negotiation. That's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about negotiating as a way of talking to somebody and understanding their problems, being able to package up a solution and convincing them, yes, convincing them to say yes, because it makes a big difference. So that's what I'm gonna fix this. Whatever the problems with the education system, I'm fixing it starting tonight. We're gonna start talking about what negotiation is so that you get good at it. That's what I worked on with Darren. So Darren's another one of my total attraction students. And when he initially came to me, he said, Tom, I need some extra income. I got 4 kids and they're kind of preteen. There's no more space left in the house for me. Just get out and have a little peace and quiet out there in the country. I said, I get it, man. There's nothing wrong with that. So great. I gave him my marketing system. It's got 85 different techniques in there. And it's not that you need to do all 85. But when you have 85, you really can't tell me you don't know what to do. It's just a matter of which ones. So Darren chose to focus on HUD homes. Now, HUD means Housing and Urban Development. It's a government agency. They make loans on properties. And just like a bank, you make a loan on a property, sometimes people don't pay. So you wind up foreclosing out. So the government takes these home backs and they tend to sell them through special realtors, special agents called HUD agents. So they're like HUD specialty. So Darren was dealing with them, but he was having some issues. He was getting nothing but no to all his offers. So at one of the events, and I do all my events online monthly, and we do some live ones as well. And at one of the events, I said, Darren, let's role play a little bit. I said, because I want to see if I can catch where you're going wrong. Well, almost instantly, I knew exactly what he was doing wrong. He was rushing right to his highest and best offer. Well, if you're telling somebody immediately your highest and best offer, you got no more wiggle room. So I said, all right, we got to slow you down, buddy. So you start low and maybe raise your offer just a little bit each time. Don't rush right to your max, because then you got nowhere else to go. And one technique I gave him, and I want to explain this technique to you now so you can be using it immediately also. I call it refiring the same bullet. Oh, what do I mean by that? Well, okay, when you make an initial offer, what do they always do? They usually counter that offer. So they come back, they counter at a higher price. And then you counter at a higher price again and again. So you're already moving up. What I want you to do with refiring the same bullet is I want you to make an offer, then they counter it at a higher price, but I want you to literally go back, grab your bullet, right? Grab your initial offer, reload it and refire that exact same offer again, almost ignoring their higher counter. Because now you haven't, one, it comes across as very confident. And then 2, you haven't come up in price yet. So what I did with Darren was I slowed down his progression up to the max that he could pay. And I'll tell you, it worked. That combined with, look, I have 52 different specific techniques that I teach people, but I started in with that one, and Darren learned them all and started playing with them, moving them in, experimenting and learning the negotiation, making it work for him. And he got his first deal, a buy and hold, with $32,000 in equity. Think about how nice it is to buy a property where you got 32 grand in equity. It's a great deal for him. So what Darren realized was, whether he's wholesaling, rehabbing, buying and holding, all deals need to be negotiated effectively. That's what makes a big difference. So now Darren flips motorcycles too. I should explain, he doesn't flip out on the motorcycle. There's no accident involved there. But when you come to my Total Traction Bootcamp, I always ask people, hey, what else have you been using my negotiation techniques for? Like, before we start talking about the real estate deals, let's talk about other parts of life. And Darren says, well, but Tom, I've been using what you teach me to flip motorcycles. So, well, you better explain that. He said, look, I take all your negotiation techniques and I use them to work the price of a motorcycle down. Because then I buy the bike, I ride it around for a few months. Then I take everything you taught me and I use it to push the negotiation up. I push the price up and I resell it. He goes, so I make a few grand off of every motorcycle and I got a new bike every few months, which he's really happy about it. But that's awesome. Not a bad side hustle. I mean, how many of you have a side hustle like that, that if you got better at it and made more money each and every time, you'd be really happy about that? It's awesome that way. Darren said there was some other great hidden benefits as well. He goes, we have 4 kids and my wife doesn't mind me riding motorcycles because I make good money on them all the time. So she's encouraging the flipping of the motorcycle. So look, what's going to happen to you? What happens to you when you implement this into your life? I bet things get a lot better. The key for Darren's success, he followed my action plan, the same action plan that I'm going to detail out for you tonight. So why do people lose deals? Well, they lose deals from a flawed or an insufficient contract. Yeah, there are a lot of different contracts out there. Some of them have some really bad flaws. Some of them are just insufficient and don't protect us as creative real estate investors or as wholesalers. So I want to fix that as well. So here's the problem with legal contracts in general. If you get your legal contracts wrong, you can lose your deal from a lack of control. Right? I think control was a really important element. So we don't want to lose a deal from a lack of control. We don't want to lose money on a deal from having a flawed contract or an insufficient contract. That's not good either. And worse, what if we lose sleep? Right? You can lose sleep because you might have fear or confusion over the legal aspects of the deal. Well, that's no good either. So the solution to all these is to only use solid legal contracts each and every time, because from the moment that seller says yes in the negotiation, you've got to put it on the contract, lock it up tight, and navigate it all the way through until final settlement so that you get paid. That's how you legally secure your profits. So the number one key to this is what I said earlier, is having a big, red, giant, beautiful eject button in your contracts. The peace of mind it will give you when you realize you can't get stuck. The number of my students now that have told me, Tom, when I realize that I can't get stuck, I can press the eject button, get out, I don't even lose my $100. They realized that and they went, then why wouldn't I try? If I can't get stuck, why wouldn't you at least try? And that has unlocked it for tons of people. That's the value and the power of my contract, is because you're not going to get stuck. You need to hit the eject button. That's the same thing Godfrey told me. So Godfrey, another one of my Total Traction students, one of my all-time most successful students. In fact, I just inducted Godfrey just at our last live event about a month ago. I just inducted Godfrey into our 3X club. So I have a whole system, like ranking system that I move people up through. And then when you achieve the top level, then there's 2 more levels now. There's a 2X club when you've doubled your earnings with me. And then the 3X club when you've tripled your earnings from me. And that's exactly what Godfrey did. So it was awesome. But it's interesting. Godfrey's had a great journey because it wasn't that good when he first came to me. When he first came to me, he said, look, I got to become independent. I got to be able to quit my job because I have a really big family. And Godfrey's a little older than he looks. So he's got a really big family, lots of kids, tons of grandkids. He says, everybody comes to me when they have a problem. He said, but there's a small secret. I'm in bankruptcy. So Godfrey was in bankruptcy when he met me, when he was at an event just like this. And he borrowed the money to join my Total Traction program because he wanted to change things. And he really wanted to quit that job, a job that was, burning up a lot more than 40 hours a week. His job, he was the manager of a chain restaurant at a shopping mall. Manager of a chain restaurant at a shopping mall. He didn't have any time. Oh, on top of it, that shopping mall was 90 minutes away from his house. So he had a 3-hour-a-day commute, 90 minutes out, 90 minutes back. There was zero time available. That was one of his really, really big hiccups. His job was devouring his life. I think probably a lot of you understand what that's like. Your job devours your life. And so it's hard to have a lifestyle when you're stuck at work all the time. So I said, great. I said, Godfrey, here's what we're going to do. You don't got to reinvent the wheel. I've thought this through. I've got checklists. I've got worksheets. I have workflows for everything that we do. You don't have to think it through. Just follow the process. You don't have to fall into any of those pitfalls that I've already fallen into, because I'm going to point them out and show you what it is. So he was, because of the bankruptcy, he was nervous. He was stuck on the contract questions. He says, I've got to be legally safe and sound before I move forward. And that was why having those eject buttons in the contract, and I built multiple eject buttons in, that way you're always safe. Hit a button, get out. That meant a lot to him because he moved forward. I said, Godfrey, I'm going to make sure you understand these legal contracts inside out, because when you attend my boot camp sessions, one of the things we do is I go over my main contracts line by line, paragraph by paragraph, sentence by sentence, word by word, so that you understand it like the proverbial back of your hand. You're going to know these contracts inside out. If a seller says, oh, I don't understand clause number 8, you'll know exactly what to say. Just repeat what I told you to say. Or, if somebody says, oh, I don't get what paragraph 3 is for. You'll know why it's there. You know how it's designed to protect you. You know what you're allowed to change, what you're not allowed to change, because I've walked you through all of that before. So we do that line by line contract understanding. That, because you know the contracts, you know they got the eject buttons, you know you're safe. It's fantastic. You're not going to get stuck. You can't screw it up when you've got the right eject buttons in there. Godfrey was also thrilled they didn't need to spend 16 grand on attorney's fees. I've got 19 different contracts in my kit. To be fair, I only use 2 of them most of the time, but all of them are there as an insurance policy in case I ever need them. Godfrey said, because my God, 19 contracts. He goes, and what attorneys charge per hour? Because even if they only spend 2 hours per contract, that's a lot of money. He goes, like, I said, yeah, what I've spent on them, about $4.50 an hour, it works out about 16 grand. You don't have to spend any of that. This is the easier, more efficient, effective way of getting it. So Godfrey focused in his limited time, and he got fantastic results. He got 10 deals in his first year and $248,000 in profits. Is that a normal result? No, that's not a normal result. I've designed my total attraction program to put 100 grand on your bottom line in 12 months. Godfrey blew that projection out of the water. He hit 248. That was 3 rehabs and 7 wholesales. Focused. While he was still full-time employed as the manager of a chain restaurant at a shopping mall 90 minutes away from his house. If Godfrey could do it, you could do it. He also realized my contracts work everywhere. They work in all 50 states. They work in the District of Columbia. They work in Puerto Rico. I got students using them there. And Godfrey went and used my contract. Godfrey's originally from Trinidad. He went down to Trinidad and used my contracts and got a deal done down there. It's absolutely amazing. Contracts are designed to work absolutely anywhere. 10 deals in a year by following my action plan. That's massive. He did what he was told. He followed the action plan. So what's going to happen to you when you implement this into your life? I mean, with Godfrey, I already told you the rest of the story. I told you he was in bankruptcy. That was the big thing. So what were you going to do with that 9 grand? 9 grand out of the $9,600 average first deal? Because in Godfrey's case, there's no reason you can't do that and a whole heck of a lot more. Just a massive amount of money on there. So can you make just 3 offers a week? I really want to know. In fact, let's make a little noise in the chat. Can you make 3 offers a week? Type a yes or a no into the chat. This is the basis of my action plan. Yep, Mike's saying yes. Oh, Mike, good name. You're already Mike. Jacine saying yes. We've got, let's see. Dante, absolutely. Susan, yes. Carissa, yes. Ben, yes. Okay, good. So I'm assuming it's yes forever. We're all yes. Thanks. John's in there. Ben's in there for yes and yes. All right. 3 offers a week. So here's what we are going to do. This is my action plan. Write this down. Just write action plan, $9,600 deal. And because I'm horrendous at math, I'm going to round it off to 10 grand, because then it makes my math a lot easier. So I told you I've designed the program to put $100,000 on your bottom line in a year. In 12 months, 100 grand. So at 10 grand a deal, that's only 10 deals in a year. Now, there's 12 months in a year. You only need to do 10 deals. So we're not even talking a deal a month. So 10 grand. Boston and Massachusetts in general, you got higher prices. You probably have a higher thing, but let's be conservative. We'll keep the number low. It's 10 grand a deal. I want you doing 10 of them in a year. You'll have your $100,000 in profit. Here's how I want to stack the deck. To get your 10 good deals, I want you making 150 offers. Okay? 150 offers to get 10 of them to say yes. Now, there's 52 weeks in a year. So if we divide 150 by 52, we get roughly 3. I only want you making 3 offers a week. That's it. Here's a big secret. As much as I hate the word secret, I don't know what it's a secret thing. Like New Year's resolutions. Most people have failed in their New Year's resolutions by January 2nd. Now, as we're pushing halfway through the year, who even thinks about the New Year's resolutions? Okay. That part of the problem is because they're too big. They're giant pie in the sky goals, and that's ridiculous. It doesn't work. I want you having small, little, stupidly easily achievable goals. Like not 150 offers tomorrow. I want you doing 3 this week and 3 next week and 3 the week after, because I will also create a habit in this process. So are you capable of making 3 offers in a week? I mean, 3 offers in 7 days. I'm pretty sure you can do it. Now, they don't have to be written formal offers. I just want you making an offer on the phone. In fact, even if it doesn't have a snowball's chance in you know where of being accepted, I want you making the offer. Every phone call is an offer. You make the offer no matter what. That way you can check it off the list and count it towards your 3 a week. Everything's an offer. But I want you to realize what this means. You're going to get your 10 good ones that make 100 grand. But wait a minute. 150, 10 are good. That means there's 140 bad ones. Yep. You are going to get smacked in the face 140 times. You're going to get called names 140 times. Somebody's going to cuss you out 140 times. They're going to hang up the phone 140 times. You're going to feel like crap 140 times. Are you willing? Are you willing to deal with it? Because if you are, you'll get your 10 good ones. Who cares if somebody you've never met and are never going to meet calls you a name or hangs up on you? Who cares? The only thing you should care about, in fact, you should be happy that they cussed you out or hung up on you, because 1 down, 149 to go. 2 down, 148 to go. Right? You're just going to keep going. You're going to get perversely addicted to rejection, because the more you're getting rejected, the closer you are to the ones that say yes. It's all a giant numbers game, folks. So that's what we got to do. 3 offers a week. You willing to do it? Are you willing to make 3 offers a week? I'm assuming if you are, I know you can do it. Will you? That's the big question, because that's what's going to turn you into a Mikey. So you guys want to be a Mikey, right? Who wants to be a Mikey? If you still want to be a Mikey, you got to commit to making 3 offers a week. If you do that, I will back you on this. So I'm going to tell you about my program, the Total Traction Program. Right? I've introduced you to people from the program, told you the genesis of it, where it came from. Well, I'm going to guarantee it. If you make 3 offers a week, and my system will show you how and how to do it and how to document it, all of that, well, then you will have $100,000 on your bottom line 12 months from today, or I will refund every penny you invest into the Total Traction Program. Oh, and that refund is on me, by the way, not on Boston RIA. I will refund every penny. Because I know it's going to work. If you do the work, it's going to work. So I got to get you in the habit of making 3 offers a week. So look, I don't know specifically why you showed up today. Maybe because you don't find any motivated sellers. Maybe you're here because you're not good at negotiating. You can't get people to say yes to you. Maybe you're here because you don't have the necessarily legal contracts and you're scared of the legal side of the business. Well, I've got a solution for that. The solution is the Total Traction Program. My Total Traction Program, I build it to take people from spinning their wheels to doing profitable deals. In fact, I built the program based around everything I wished I had when all I had was Rich Dad. Think about that for a minute. I had nothing at the beginning, and I walked into that stupid 6-unit deal that almost took me on. Well, almost took me under. What about my sister? Right? It almost cracked her head open. That's more of the issue. So yeah, that's a problem. So what I want to do is, we're not doing that. Let me scroll down a few things. I realized something that I'm going to admit to stupidity right now. I literally edited the wrong presentation when I was prepping for tonight. So that was idiotic on my part. So what I'm going to do for the moment is switch over to the one that I did edit. I started editing a totally different presentation with the Boston stuff. I'm admitting that because I am as flawed as anyone else. And yet, you know what? You make mistakes. So I'm going to correct it very publicly. And here's what's going to happen. I'm going to click this. I'm going to find my Zoom screen again. I'm going to share this screen. Now we've got the right one. Cool. So it's my total attraction program. What's involved in the total attraction program? Well, there's 4 components. There's a kit, there's an implementation bootcamp, there's monthly support calls, and there's audio and video replays of everything. Let me go through that. My kit is in 3 pieces. It's 3 written volumes and a USB stick that has all of the editable soft copies of legal contracts and marketing templates on there. Now, the 3 written books, they're great to read. They're fun and exciting to read. You know how I know? I wrote them, of course, right? So yeah, they're fantastic. Look, even if you don't like to read, I've had people tell me they hate reading, but they enjoyed reading my stuff. I tend to write like I speak, so if you're enjoying it, you'll probably enjoy the reading. Even if you never read them, I went a little bit obsessive compulsive on the table of contents, so you can use it as a shelf reference. When you need to know something, you just run your finger down the table of contents, figure out what it is you need to know, jump to that page, and you're taken care of. And then you'll have everything on it. Like I say, it's everything you need to get your first $9,600 deal and more. It's everything that Neva used to get moving, including the exact same postcard that Neva used to get her first $14,700 deal. It was fantastic. Well, Neva's second deal, by the way, was 40 grand. So from the same postcard, her first 2 deals, she bought 14 and 14.7 and 40. That's $54,700. It's crazy. The kit has all the written guidance, 6 hours of audio training, my 85 different marketing templates and techniques. Again, you don't need to be doing all of them, but now you can't tell me you don't know what to do. So I'm stealing that excuse from it. And then my legal library of 19 contracts so that you are ready for any kind of pitch that you get. You get a fastball, a sinker, a slider, a curveball. I want you ready to hit it. That's why I give you a whole legal library so you're ready to go. It's the same negotiation training in there as well. I got Darren moving. So that's the first part. That's the kit. The second part is my implementation bootcamp. So I talked about, talking to the students at the bootcamp. So the bootcamp is done 2 ways. We do it online every month using Zoom, kind of exactly like we're training right now. And you saw I draw on the screen and you draw along with me. I give you a workbook for it. You're drawing along with me. And each and every month, we spend a couple hours on Zoom digging deep into the various topics of marketing, negotiation, and contracts control and getting paid. We're digging into those 9 categories that I had you score yourself on earlier. So the implementation bootcamp is awesome like that. Now, I know you have everything you need in the kit, so what's with the bootcamp? Well, I can get you to your goals faster because we're working together. I'm teaching you each and every month, breaking it down into pieces, and that live training, these are all live, by the way, it's not pre-recorded, it's live. You'll be on there with me learning. And the benefit of that being live as well is you can ask me questions after. I always open it up, we do open Q&A, and fantastic. Now, if you can't make one of those events, don't worry about it, I got you covered. You will have the video recording of the Zoom so you can go over it again and again and again. Look, I designed it to be like Disney. I took my kids to Disney and all you do is wait in line, right? There's these long lines for all these rides. But then there was a short line. Like, wait a minute, I could wait 2 hours or I could wait 10 minutes in the fast pass lane. So I've designed the boot camp to be like the fast pass lane. It gets you to the result faster, which is pretty awesome. So that's the boot camp monthly online. I train you for a year online every month. Now, during that year, I also do 2 bonus in-person events. Those bonus in-person events, you're not obligated to come, but if you do, you're going to have a really good time. We do a lot of, I think I put some different photos in here. We have a nice group. You're with other fellow like-minded people that all want to be high achievers, high performers. We do a lot of group work. There's a lot of different sessions that go on. That's my wife, Carolina, helping teach as well. We go through all different aspects of your business. The group work that we do, and then I always have people kind of present what their great ideas were and share them with the group. It's this massive collaborative environment that's just really a lot of fun. Everybody's always smiling. We have a good time. I like to do it at beautiful hotels and beautiful locations. We did the last one in Sarasota, and I think we're going to do the next one in Sarasota as well, because it was just super duper exciting. That's the hotel we did it at, right on the water in Sarasota. Just absolutely phenomenal. And what I did for the bonus event, so it's a 2-day event. It's a Saturday and Sunday. I have everyone get together on Friday night. And then on the Saturday night, I had everyone, I hired boats, and the boats came to the hotel and took you for a cruise around Sarasota Harbor. Now, Sarasota is, it's breathtaking coast. If you haven't been there before, there it is. It's beautiful. So it's a lot of fun getting everyone on the boats, going out, seeing if we catch any dolphin on the way out. And the boats went to my house. And I took everyone to my house, and there it is. Now my son would say, "Geez, Dad, are you flexing on the house?" Yeah, because I love the place. It's great, and it's a fantastic negotiation. So taking all the same 52 negotiation techniques that I teach you in Total Traction, I pulled $375,000 off of this property. Now think about the value of that. 375 large. I mean, that's a lot to pull. So yes, and everyone got to hear that story and what it is. The backyard's absolutely fabulous. You see the dock down there. So the boats came and docked, and we took everyone off, and we had a big giant dinner party. So I think this is going to become the habit every time we do the Sarasota event, because people just had a great time at the party. I had had it catered, and there was a bartender, and we had food, we had drink, everyone had good times, a lot of fun. My parents were there, my kids were there. We were playing. We had the what's the Congo line where everyone's going under the line as well. Just good times were had by all. Oh, there's Godfrey. Godfrey still loves coming to the events because he knows he's just going to get something out of it each and every time. So really just good times all around. We'd love to have you join us because we really get to dig deeper in your business, and it gets really focused on you, particularly through all that kind of group work. So it's absolutely fun and exciting. So these are bonus events. Again, it's okay if you're not there, but you see how much fun everyone's having. But absolutely love to have you there. There's a group we head up, and then you can see my son holding the control for the drone as we grab an overview shot of everyone. So look, the implementation bootcamp, I've designed it for people who need more leads. I've designed it for people who still struggle getting people to say yes to them. And I've designed it for people who feel afraid of controlling deals. It's ongoing training to progressively move you up to that $100,000 in the next 12 months. Remember, that's only 10 deals in a year, so it's not even a deal a month. It's the same training that got Godfrey moving. You saw Godfrey at the event. That was just a couple months ago. So he still comes, and then he's 5 years in with me now. This is his 5th year with me. It's fantastic. We keep him moving along. It's tech and systems, running your business like a business, the overall team structure, how to get everything together. And I'll tell you, online and in person, I've got a framework for everything. Look at how much I've drawn on that. I'm redecorating the ballroom with all my different drawings and frameworks. I do the same thing with the online drawings as well. You saw it. It's there in my handwriting. You get to see it alive and in person. It's great that way. That's how I surgically inject the business in your head, because at the end of the event, you're ready to go. You've got everything that you need. You'll meet Mark at these events, Mark Duncan, who I initially met in Portland, Oregon. He was a school teacher and athletic coach. And he says, "Tom, I consistently make about $115,000, $120,000 a year from what you taught me." And he focuses mostly on wholesaling. And he built his business out in Oregon and did fantastic with it. When he built his real estate business up, it let him retire from teaching. Him and his wife moved to Florida. He kept his business running in Oregon, and then he built another business in North Central Florida. So he's thrilled. He's got 2 businesses running on each coast. It's fantastic. It's nice tax deductible trips, and he said to go on. Dawn and Soraya are a mother-daughter team in West Virginia. They use my program to buy more and more rentals. So they're adding to the rental portfolio. They live in a really cool college town, and so college town and medical town, and they just keep buying up more and more rentals and renting them out. And it's all because it doesn't matter what the exit strategy is. It's all about finding the deal, making the deal, and learning how to put it under contract and control it so that you get paid. And the same with Rebecca. So Rebecca from New Orleans, she did a deal at the boot camp. I had to do a little bit of homework. So just make some phone calls. She made 6. Her 6th call wound up being the charm. That 6th call, she wound up with 2 deals from the same seller at about half price each. It was phenomenal. So fantastic. Now, other pieces of the puzzle, monthly support calls. We're on Zoom every month. That's one thing. but we also do a raw Q&A phone call, not on Zoom, just on the phone. It's just easier for everyone. You don't have to worry about hair and makeup. You can just show up because it's on the phone. So you're on the phone every month. This is one-on-one attention in a group setting. So you're on the call. I take everyone off of mute one by one, say, hey, what questions you got? Awesome, answer your questions. The next person, answer your questions, answer your questions. So you're hearing everybody's questions and all of my answers. And if you're unable to make it live, you can email your questions in. I will read them on the call and answer them on the call for everyone's benefit. And you would get the answer from the recording, because you're going to have the audio and video replays of everything that goes for 12 months. It's 12 months of monthly calls, 12 months of monthly Zoom. So that's 24 times a year that we're going to be together. It's one-on-one attention in a group setting. Everything's recorded, and you can email those questions in if you are unable to attend live. So basically, you're not going to miss. You're always going to be supported. I set this whole thing up because I realized most people aren't doing anything if you don't have help implementing. And I want to make Mikey's. So it's kind of an absurd amount of stuff, but I don't care. I want to make Mikey's. That's the only thing I care about. So 24 times a year, we're going to be together. 26 if you come to the 2 bonus events. All right, great. So 20 plus years. I guess I'm going to leave it at plus now. 20. Let's see, 2001. I was 22 years. Like 22 plus years. Kits, implementation boot camp, the monthly support calls, the audio and video replays of everything. Online, I charge $6,000 for that. Now, go to the website. It's $6,000. I don't want you to go to my website. I'm going to have Kelly and Duncan show you a special link because they pre-negotiated with me on your behalf. They said, Tom, you got to make our people a really good deal. So let me ask you this. Look at these people on the screen. You met Rebecca, you met Darren, you met Godfrey, you met Mark, you met Neva. What would have cost them not to have joined my program? I mean, Rebecca wouldn't have had her first 2 deals at half price. Darren had 32 grand in equity. Godfrey did 248 grand his first year. Mark is making that 115, 120 a year. Neva, we told her, is 14,700 on her first deal and 40 grand on her second. So that's a pretty big cost for not taking any action. So particularly when it's guaranteed. I will guarantee every penny of what you invest tonight. As long as you make your 3 offers a week, you're going to get your $100,000 in the year, or I will refund you. So that includes my on-ramp program. It's an on-ramp just like on the highway. It gets you up to speed so that starting immediately right now, as soon as you sign up, you'll start getting, okay, here's what we need to do. Here's how you're going to practice. And I walk you through the process for 90 days to get you up and running as well. So no matter where you jump in, that's great. If you, it's $6,000. Here's the deal that I've worked out with Boston Ria. We can change that. So I was going to chop it in half, but we're going to do even better. We're going to chop it into 1/3. So 1/3 is $2,000. But I was joking around with Duncan and Kelly. I said, you know what the problem with $2,000 is? It doesn't sound cheesy enough. It just doesn't sound corny. Shouldn't this sound like really salesy or something? So we're going to shave another $3 off. It'll be $19.97. All right. So tonight, you can go online and pay $6,000, or you can use the link that they're putting into the chat, and that's a special link that'll give you about, it's 2/3 off, but 2/3 and $3. We'll take it to $19.97, so that will be good. Use that link that they're popping into the chat, and the link is tomz.com/Boston. Okay, tomz.com, Tomz, that's me, /Boston, that's you guys, awesome. And it's valid now only. That is a special offer for Kelly and Duncan. Not going to, like I said, it's not online. Don't make that to everybody. That's special to them because I've known them a long time. So I'm happy to hang out and answer questions if you guys like. And,
all right, Tom, super. Thank you very much. I got to tell you, like, guys, this is a great deal. Like I said, I've known Tom 20 plus years. No, I actually known you, I think 15 plus years, but I've known you've been doing it.
So.
20 plus, yeah. So,
We met when we were 10.
Yeah. He's been very involved in real estate, and he's very well respected with the National Real Estate Investors Association. So he's not blowing fluff at all. This is real stuff going on. He's a huge contributor of his knowledge of marketplaces and deals to the organization nationally. So this is your really best chance to work with somebody firsthand at this level. I kind of enjoyed seeing Sherpa there. I love to climb mountains, and I tell you, even at my age, I'm still using Sherpas. Have somebody carry that weight for you, or you can concentrate on just doing the steps you got to do. So I like that term, Tom. That's a very good analogy. It's just like, hey, somebody walking probably ahead of you doing all the heavy lifting and carrying. Well, you just
Sherpa
focus
carries
on
all
doing
the
what you
weight.
do.
Yeah, they carry all the weight to get you to the mountaintop, so you don't have to carry the weight out all alone.
Yeah, 100%, guys. It's really important. Could you do this on your own? Yeah, you probably could, but it's going to take. I got to tell you, honestly, trying to just read a book and go out there and do it, making a ton of mistakes, it ends up costing you more money. Lose one deposit, you're going to be hurting and crying. Just lose one deposit, and it'll probably not only hurt you financially, it'll put that thing in your head that thinks that it's not doable. So guys, again, this is a no-brainer. We negotiated for you. Yeah, so Donna has to ask, can you do any better? I said
Jeez, I mean, 2/3 off isn't good enough.
plus the $3.
Yeah, that's sorry, 2/3 plus three. I think I'm tapped out, guys. I think for that amount of support, I dare you to find another
Yeah.
program at that price point. That's why I
Yeah,
structured. I want to make Mikey's. It's not a big money maker. I want to make Mikey's. It's a Mikey maker, but I think
Right.
that's the best we can do on price.
Yeah, I agree with you. Somebody did ask me, about mentoring. I said, yeah, we do have a mentoring program, but then again, you're paying 5 times as much minimum, and there's only 12 sessions. So, I've seen for the support that you do versus our mentoring, I'm like, yeah, this really is a no-brainer rather than sitting on the, phone an hour a week with me, maybe berating you like, come on, get your ass in gear. You do it in a group format, and everybody supports everybody else, and it's just as good. So guys, that's why we do this. Is a hot topic. Tom, your stuff works all around the country. It's not just in Boston.
Correct.
You're doing deals down in Florida, your members are doing deals all across the country. So even if they are located in Boston and they wanted to get started doing deals around the country, could you speak to that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one, I mean, obviously the contract stuff work in any of the New England states or all across the country. The marketing works all over as well, and the negotiation works all right. That's all universal, which is great. What's really cool is when you start to get to know some of the other students in my program, you'll find that some people go, oh, you're in I think you said earlier, one of these states that there's really good cash flow. Awesome. Maybe they're not in as good a cash flow area. But then there's other people going, oh, but you're in one of those areas with great appreciation or great equity, or so they want to invest there. So I find sometimes some students funds, they'll maybe be private lenders on someone else's deal. There's a lot of kind of crisscross and cross pollination there. It's just really cool to be around a group of people that are well trained because I trained them together, right? So it's all good that way.
Right. Yeah, Tom, I got another comment coming. I'd love to do this, but won't have 2K for another 3 weeks. How long can we make this discount valid? I'm going to say you're going to have to email me. The link will not stay up and active. I'll probably put it out for the replay for the next 3 days, maybe the link. I got to think about that when the replay goes out. I hope that the replay out within 3 days, and I'll keep it up that day. Other than that, you're going to have to email me then to contact Tom.
Yeah, I'd say lock it. Do something to lock it in now. I mean, guys, I'm making I think a very generous discount to get some Mikeys going there in Boston and the area, but yeah, I can't leave it open forever. It's just not fair to everyone else then, because I will. I mean, sometimes I'll give discounts, but usually not that deep, so other people pay more. So I would lock it in now, and payment plan. I'll put it up to Duncan.
Could they email you to lock it in somehow if it's not through your form, or they wanted to work something out with you?
Well, they can. You can have them email me or you, Duncan. That's fine either way, or email
All
both
right.
of us.
All right, so Kelly's put her email in there for the Boston RIA general email. So if you don't have the money right now and you want to lock something in, email us. I'll forward it to Tom and we can discuss that. Though I get kind of back like, well, look, if it's there's always some sort of penalty, like, hey, you're not locking this in as we said. So, you might end up paying an extra $100 more to wait. I don't know, Tom. I don't know what he wants to do there, but we'll see if we can't work out something with you in that regard. So anything else, Tom, in closing? I just would want to say that, hey, when Tom does know the New England area very well. Also, if that's what your head is stuck on, like I said, Tom's been living in DC and doing deals from DC up north for a while too. Can you speak to that at all, Tom?
Sure, I've had family in Boston for years. I think since my dad loved road trips. I'm from Buffalo, New York originally. Like it seemed like every summer and winter we were in Boston for something. Visiting family and touring is fun. So it's what I have found with students everywhere and my own investing everywhere is it doesn't matter where you are. People are people. You learn to negotiate it with them. You learn how to find them. You learn how to put those deals together. There's housing everywhere. I wouldn't get too stuck on the area. I want you investing where it makes sense for you. Which is not, don't make that like it's all, there's that whole grass is greener. Oh, I got to go to California. I got to go to Colorado. No, you don't. There's just so many deals right in your own backyard.
Right. And it just really becomes a matter of once you learn what to look for, they start appearing. The focus is key. Yeah. So, and that's part of your training. This is what you got to look for. This is what you got to market for.
I had my students do a challenge about a month or so ago. We are now up to 7 deals coming out of that challenge.
Wow.
I mean, it was just crazy. But I'm like, what? So until I turn it into a game, so it just boom. It got everyone hyper focused in 1 week, and then the first deal came, and then another guy got 3 deals, and then 3 separate people got 3 more deals. I went, okay, now we're at 7, guys. What do you think about that? And so, and the subtle context. I didn't say it to anyone to be mean, but I said to everyone else, I'm like, well, if you didn't participate, why not? I mean, look at what it did for everybody else. It can do the same for you, but you've got to do something. You've got to take action.
Yeah. I mean, everything is there that you want, but you got to move confidently and boldly in that direction to make it happen. That first step is the most fearful. And I think that's why I like to challenge myself. Like, hey, this is scary, or this is fear. I got some nervous here. Every time I jump off a mountain, every time I go to a new height, I'm like, shit, I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it. I'm not going to get higher until I take that next step. So, that you just got to take action, and that stuff becomes in focus, and it happens, and you're going to have like life along the way. But, thank God you have, Tom by your side to walk you through all the stuff to make it a lot easier for you. And we're counting down on that link. So, guys, that's all I can say. Take action. I want to thank Tom tonight. If you're worried about not having money to flip deals, or, you need transactional funding, we have that for you. We have lead sources. Tom named a couple of his favorites. We have those lead sources for you. So all you got to do is put the stuff, put it in action. So, Tom, I want to thank you very much for tonight. I'll see you in Vegas shortly in another
next month. Late next month.
Yeah, gosh, it's coming up very soon. That's fun. So all right, guys, thank you very much.
Can I jump in with a question real quick? Sorry,
sure, Mike, go right ahead.
Go for it.
Hey, Tom, sorry. Great presentation. Appreciate you staying late with us here. So the 3 offers a week, love that. Do you have like a recommendation or KPIs for addresses to leads to contracts to offers to acceptances?
Good question.
Some of it is a good question. Some of it depends. Well, I'm not an aggressive KPI tracker, but some of it depends on your lead source. So in general, like with my out-of-state absentee owners, it seems to be that 36th or 37th hit that works. That's the one that you get. So if you're getting a 1% response rate, so you calculate how many are you sending out in a given county. I usually break things down by county when I'm doing those lists. Send them out 1%, great. And then I expect out of the 36 or 37 that I talk to, that's when I'm going to get one of them to say yes.
Yeah. Tom, if I can jump in there, because I've done a lot of KPIs with different lead sources, being that, I like to think I was a lead generation expert.
Yeah,
but I quit teaching lead generation because AI and
you're more of a techie guy.
the techie, yeah.
And you're better at math. I hated math in school, Mike. So it's like, oh boy, I got to do division, multiplication.
So, Tom is absolutely correct. It depends on the lead source. So, one of my favorite lead sources was probates. So I knew for every 100 probate letters with a follow-up I sent out, so basically a letter and a postcard, I would get 10 to 12 responses. Out of the 10 to 12 responses, I'd get 5 appointments. I'd make 3 appointments, means I just get on the phone with somebody. And then I would make usually 2 to 3 offers. And from that, I would get 1 deal. So I was basically spending $150 a month, and maybe $170 a month, depending, to get a deal. Not just wholesaling. It could have been a subject to deal. It could have been,
Deal's a deal.
A deal's a deal, right? So probate was one of my favorite ones. Of course, the out-of-state owner is another great one. So there are many lead sources I've put into the chat box. The service we use, and you can use it for 7 days free of charge. Test it. I would pull out every single lead you can in 7 days and start sending stuff out. And then when you get overwhelmed with the responses, hey, get Tom's stuff so you know what to do next. I do find that more deals come with. When I started, I used to send out 12-page contracts and say, sign here. And they'd look at this stuff and say, what? So, yeah, well, that's the contact I was given from Carlton Sheets, So, here's 12 pages, here's around the ground. But when you started to simplify your contracts and put it in lay person's English, your deal ratio went up. So, like I said, Tom's got all that covered. And for $100, to bind a contract, I think everybody's got that. So,
awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. And I'm just going to make a comment here in the chat.
That was a great question.
So make sure that you, if you are just on board for the call and for the networking session, just scroll to the very top and then copy that whole thing and then paste it into a notepad for all the contact information. We do not send out the chat, so this is the benefit of being live with us. And we'll go from there. Otherwise, Tom, thanks very much. I appreciate it. And again, the link is tomzeeb.com/Boston. And you got Kelly's phone number for membership. We've gave you a few sources we got Ben. Ben, go right ahead. Unmute yourself.
Hey, I just had a quick question. So Tom, when you were talking about all your steps, I was thinking, how do you necessarily operate? Like, do you just operate as Tom Zeeb, or do you operate like under like an LLC of like Tom Zeeb Real Estate? Like, necessarily, how do you do the business portion of it?
the business portion is split between an LLC and but that I run the expenses through. I actually do the deals through self-directed Roth IRAs. That way I don't pay any tax.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's something I get into deeper in my training. I mean, it's a big topic for right now, but that's how I split things.
All right,
Awesome.
awesome.
Guys, we have, last year we discussed using a self-directed IRA. It's a huge strategy. Last month we talked about unbridled wealth, using insurance policies, and being your own bank. So we will have more along that. But Tom is exactly right. An LLC for running expenses through, and a self-directed IRA for taxes. Now, not everybody's going to maybe use that exact structure because they want to have more cash now in their pocket than saving it. So that is all individual. But Tom, when he does his big
Ways
events,
around that too.
yeah,
There's some ways around that. One of the parts of my training is I've got there's a training from my IRA custodian that walks through how to do it no matter what your age, whether your goal is to save or whether your goal is to get the money out immediately. Again, no matter what your age. So it's kind of cool that way. And I usually, I also bring my custodian to the implementation bootcamp sessions. That way you can learn the training exactly and figure out how to do that, no matter where your account's at.
awesome. Any last questions before we sign off? We've kept Tom overtime, and thank you for that overtime. Any final questions? You got to raise your hand, speak up, chat. That last chance. All righty. In that case,
Hold on one second, Duncan.
Kelly wants to talk.
Tom, way earlier, during your presentation, somebody was asking if your program works in Ohio. I didn't want to speak for you, but I'm thinking it does.
Works everywhere. Now with Ohio, I'm assuming they're asking wholesaling assignments. There's other ways of wholesaling. So in Ohio, they've been a little goofy with certain things. There's a few states that have gotten a little goofy. Usually because the realtor industrial complex is making sure they're trying to make life miserable for others. But there's other ways of wholesaling, and I go through that in the system as well. So you may not be using the assignment in Ohio, but you'll use some of the other techniques, and we'll make sure we get you covered as well.
Excellent.
I have some state-specific addendum for various states that have things like Ohio does. So all that stuff's covered as well.
And guys, remember, Tom is on the board of the National Real Estate Investors Association, which is based in Ohio. So Tom knows what he's talking about.
I was at college in Ohio.
I'm sorry to hear that. We're Clemson all the way out here. Yeah, so Tom's got you all covered with legalese and contracts and knowing exactly which states or what. Like I said, he's on the board, and we have from the National RIA every month our what's up with the legislative issues. Tom's very involved now. You go to Tom actually goes to Capitol Hill for us, don't you, Tom?
I do. That's always been one of the fun things in a way. And this is kind of just an interesting little thing. The state of Maryland was ready to get a little bit goofy a la Ohio. And Mikey, he's a Maryland guy, and he's developed some good political connections with all this development work he does. And so I kind of put him on the case a couple months ago, and we derailed that nasty legislation. So Maryland is not trending towards Ohio at the moment, and we can thank National RIA and their efforts, but Mikey as well.
Awesome.
It's good right contacts.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, guys. So that's it. I'll get a last question. Anything else is just email me and I'll get it through to Tom. Any specific concerns, grab that link, tomzeeb.com/Boston. You will not regret it. You'll be very happy camper. And if you get it, and I would highly recommend coming down to Florida. Sarasota is a booming, wonderful city, great coastline. So yeah, do that too. All right, guys, have a good evening. Take care. All the best. Until next month, make sure you join us for our meetup sessions around Boston. Keep up to date with our newsletter and everything else we got going on. And join us for your discounts. Take care, guys.
Yeah. Loved having you, Tom. Thanks.
Thanks,
Hi to
Kelly.
Miss
Thanks, Duncan. Thanks,
Carolina.
everybody. I sure will.